Oh, you're kidding. You're kidding. What? Why? It was working. Ah, sure do love this stuff. Okay. It's literally not even there anymore. Why? Sure, why not? That's perfectly reasonable. Oh, trust me. I have been very under control. I should be crashing out, but I am very under control. I should definitely be crashing out right now. Okay, why is this thing being like this? What's what's wrong with this thing? Okay, I'm gonna add a new source. Media source, sure. Okay, not media source. Remove. Yes, goodbye. We're gonna take a video capture thing and remove that too. And we're gonna add something new for the love of God. Video capture device. Why can I not select it? I don't know, man. What even is today? Today has been like a running gag of, hey, how much worse can I make this? um Here. I may have to restart the PC. Whew. Okay. It should be working now. It should be working now. Are we up and running? Okay, it seems like we're up and running. There's some technical issues, but I'm working now. Up and running now. Okay. Okay. Everything is good now. I think. Hopefully. Maybe. Hoo hoo. Yahoo. You'll notice the camera's a little weird. That's because trying to come on. And we've disappeared. We've disappeared. Okay. So what was I gonna talk about again? What was I gonna talk about again? What was I gonna talk about again? Okay. So, I guess we can talk about the chapter very quick. I have a decent amount to say regarding what's going on. I've kind of just come to the realization it's kind of like everybody fucking up. Um, It's easy to so look from my perspective. It's all about perspective. Everything we've been seeing up until now has been actually just completely about perspective. From one perspective, you can understand where I was coming from, where it's like Minnie and Kazuya are being idiots, and Chizuru has every right to be angry. And then you could flip it around, and it's like, okay, you could understand how a lot of people would think to themselves, like, okay, Chizuru's being very unfair to Kazuya. And then finally, you could go to Minnie, and you could be like, Minnie is doing all of this. This is all Minnie's fault. In reality, it's kind of everybody. It's kind of everybody in a really interesting way. And I'm gonna start simple. I'm gonna just highlight something to you guys really quick, and then afterwards we're gonna focus on the chapter, and then afterwards we're gonna get into what I was talking about before. So, most people look at the date like this, right? Most people look at the date like this. They're pretty angry at Chizuru. Their perspective is this: during the date, during most of it, she's seemingly implying to him constantly she wants to be his girlfriend, right? That's how we're looking at it. Pretty just straightforward. You get to the end of the date, and you're expecting some sort of big confession, and you get a rejection, and you're like, what the fuck? So a lot of people get really upset, and they're like, was she going to reject him all along? Was that all the plan? The story contradicts this. The story shows you, no, that was not her intent. No, that wasn't her intent. It shows you very, like Kazuya straight up tells you. He sits down, he thinks about it. No, that wasn't her intent. She wasn't always going to reject me. But something happened. She feels like she loves me, but not enough. You never get the reason for this. You never get this explained to you. You never get a clear reasoning as to why this happened. I'm looking at this just plainly from what the text has presented. That's it. Okay? You never get a reason as to why she rejected him, why she feels like she loves him, but not enough. But then they meet each other on the walk home, right? So Chizuru sets it straight. She's like, no, she doesn't want to lead him on. And that's what happens. Then she gets on his back, right? She's injured. He carries her home. And she keeps saying no to him, right? So in the date, she wants to be with him. Then she rejects him. Then they get home, right? They have a seemingly intimate moment on the walk home. They get home, and then as he's leaving, Kazuya says something to her, and she kisses him. So we went from wanting to be his girlfriend to rejecting him to kissing him. You see how it can be like, what the fuck is happening, right? Like, what the fuck is going on? In my last stream, I sat down and talked about how Kazuya actually is misleading to Chizuru, or just not misleading to Chizuru, but more so like how Chizuru sees him, and how it's easy for her to like, if you look at it from her POV, it's easy for her to like, not quite think he likes her, but maybe there's something else going on. Maybe she's the idiot for liking him. So in this case, I'm gonna highlight something to you. In most of the day, when Chizuru asks Kazuya things, he either does them because it seems prompted, or he can't give her a straight answer or like explain his feelings. Here, let me just show you what I mean. Actually, I can just do it here. Yeah. When they get to the park in 355, Chizuru compliments Kazuya's looks. Right? Chizuru just straight up says, I see that you cut your hair. Did you bleach it too? Yeah, I had put off for quite a while. Notice how she notices very specific things about him. Oh, you cut your hair. We can't tell, right? Like, we as the audience can't even tell he looks different. Like, to us, Kazuya looks exactly the same. To her, you cut your hair and you bleached it, right? He actually looks different, but we can't tell at all. Maybe I should have told her that I did it specifically for today, but I shouldn't have made a big deal about it either, right? He's worried. You said that you bought clothes too, right? Yeah, nice. You look good. Right? Shit. She gives a compliment, hoping to receive some sort of compliment. But listen to what Kazuya says here. This is also a chance for me to compliment her back. You too, really pulled off that look. It's fancy or like nice, just like always. Just like always. She's not different. She just looks like good. Look at her face. Damn it, I'm calling her everything but cute. I see. I'm glad I met your expectations. Chizuru looks completely different in this date. She has literally never ever dressed like this. And he said she looks the same as usual, just like always. Now, on one hand, you can interpret this like a good thing, right? Like, you're always beautiful, right? But for the context of Chizuru's character, who's trying to set is trying to look a little different from usual. She's trying to set a clear standard between rental and not rental. This compliment actually hurts without meaning to, and she doesn't blame him. She does not blame him. But notice what happens. I see. I'm glad I met your expectations. Expectations? That's a bit blunt. I'm still feeling some distance between us. Okay, hold on. I mean, you could say I'm under some pressure. Pressure? Well, you probably think that I'm an expert at this because of my rental dates. It makes me self-conscious about doing everything perfectly. Most of these people were strangers, so I didn't have to care about some things. But you're not a stranger. I don't want you to think I'm not good enough when it comes to personal time. Mizuhara, does that mean... I mean, this is a date, right? I want you to think I'm cute. Bro, this is a fucking confession. Bro, this is a fucking confession. No, she's not saying I love you, but like, bro, look at how she's putting her arms out. Look at how she literally tells him, I want you to see me. Not just, I look good as always, I want you to see me. Kazuya thinks there's some sort of distance. He didn't realize he's the one who created this distance. He literally doesn't see he did this by reinforcing like always, when the entire premise of this date that he established was that it's not like always. Okay? This is perspective. You don't realize what you're doing. Kazuya doesn't know he did this. And this is why he's not it's not his fault, but he's not blameless either. Right? Next chapter, as she's walking up, you're cute. You are cute. Doesn't it feel like, right? I feel like I kind of made you say that. That's not true. God, does it sound fake because she hinted at it so much? Thanks. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Even if it wasn't prompted, even if it was prompted, even if it was fake, he clearly meant it. Because she's seen this before. She's seen these situations before where it feels like Minnie prompted him to say something, but he actually meant it. So she knows he means it. She knows he means it even though it felt prompted. She's not blaming him. Okay? But again, we're already off to like a weird start. The date has a very cute moment here where they play a game, and notice what Chizuru says here. You know that new apartment complex at the corner of the station? That spot was originally an arcade. Naturally, it had a bunch of old games in it just like here. I used to go there with my grandma a lot. We didn't have much money, but for around 100 yen, you could play quite a few of them. Wow, I never knew. That's why I'm having so much fun. It's like I'm a kid again. This is the core of what Chizuru wants. This is the core of what Chizuru wants. She wants to be able to just kind of be a kid around him. She wants to be able to just let loose and be herself around him. Okay? And as you continue, literally you start seeing more kid Chizuru, right? It's literally Kazuya can envision a kid Chizuru. They proceed to play another kid game where Kazuya loses at the thing he's supposed to be good at. Just as earlier, he lost at the thing he was supposed to be good at, right? So he's losing, it's being reinforced. He again says, you can clearly see the gap in skill between us. That's twice now. First, he says there's a distance between them. Then he says there's a clear skill gap between them. Are you starting to see a pattern? Twice now, this has happened. Was it even there last chapter, I wonder? Okay. It just feels more personal. She's on her personal time. If this was a rental date, I'd say that I love candy. No, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, right? In any case, I'm glad that she's feeling well today. She gets a candy, and they feel closer. It's like I'm seeing Mizuhara when she was little. Sorry, was that weird? No, not at all. Right? They get closer. But then what happens right after they get closer, there's a divide yet again. And then Chizuru says, Chizuru, instead of, comforting him like she did earlier, she instead challenges him. Tells him, come on, try again. And he can move again. Okay. What happens next? That's why I have to pull through here. This is for the big points. He's still focusing on points. You get here. I'm trying too hard. Is Mizuhara really enjoying herself? What are you talking about? Only losers think that kind of stuff. I need to calm down and order food next. Let me think. Chizuru's already ahead of him, right? Chizuru's already doing stuff. He thinks, oh no, I messed up. What just happened again? This is 3 times now. This is 3 times now. There's a distance between us. There's a skill gap between us. There's speed between us. She did that immediately. I didn't have time to look for a code myself. It's too late for me to scan it now, isn't it? Right? It's happening. She's guiding me instead. Okay, then how about we share a plate? She went out of her way to do mine first. And look at the way she did. Mizuhara is so amazing, I can't beat her at anything. Plus, she doesn't seem bothered at all. This must be what she's really like. Even in private, she hasn't changed at all. She literally seems the same to him. But doesn't Chizuru seem different? Doesn't Chizuru literally seem different here? But she looks the same to him. She's trying to be different. I should just be grateful that I have done anything to lose me points. Oh no, I lost points. When Chizuru finds out, she just chuckles. It's funny. What the fuck? She laughed about it. Expectations versus reality. Okay, this is the core theme of this date. Expectations versus reality. And both Chizuru and Kazuya have their own expectations they're being trapped in. So this is where I introduced to you something kind of important. Kazuya, throughout the entire date, is actually doing exactly what people think Chizuru's doing. Which is that he's being passive, then leading, then being passive, and then leading. Now, I want to show the whole date. We can get back to that a little later. But I want to highlight something. 377, they go to the beach. Kazuya realizes he hasn't held her hand the entire day. And what have I just shown you the entire time? Chizuru has been assertive this entire time, and Kazuya has been passive. You need to turn the page. Chizuru has to be assertive one more time. Okay. Kazuya has not been assertive the entire date. In fact, when Chizuru is giving her speech here, he never once says anything. He doesn't say a word, except for when she acknowledges him. Literally, for how many chapters? Literally almost 2 chapters. One full chapter, he says nothing. She talks about their memories, and he says, I'll never forget anything. She's looking at him, he's seemingly looking at her, but they're literally in 2 different places. They're out of sync. What actually happens is that throughout the date, Kazuya is too passive. He doesn't do anything. Chizuru is too assertive. And this is actually where you get to 382, and their roles swap. Kazuya becomes assertive, Chizuru becomes passive. When this happens, literally the thing you were describing before with Chizuru now happens with Kazuya. Throughout the day, she's seemingly confessing, and she's not living up to his expectations. She doesn't realize she is the whole time. She doesn't realize she is the whole time. In contrast, Kazuya thinks he is, slowly getting closer to her, only to get rejected. Then that's flipped. When they're walking home, Kazuya becomes assertive, and he stops not letting her control the scenario anymore. He's in control, completely so. He stops letting her take control of the scenario. And when he does this, Chizuru feels like she's actually in love. This is what this actually happened here. They needed to swap roles. Kazuya needed to be more assertive. In fact, this is highlighted to you a few times when, for instance, this is highlighted to you a bunch of times. One, it's highlighted to you when Kazuya asks her out, and she agrees, and she's like, what are we going to do? What's all this? What's that? And she just ends up smiling. Because in reality, that was the solution. But Kazuya throughout the entire day is passive. So he needed to just become assertive in order to her to actually feel like she can learn and understand her feelings and feel accepted. He needed to show her that what she's feeling is okay, that she's not a bad person for feeling what she's feeling. She has expectations that he's seemingly not meeting because he's not doing anything. He's too passive. She's too assertive. When they swap roles, it starts working. So what happens? When Kazuya is assertive, right, Chizuru feels like, okay, I'm just going to stay passive. And I'll let him be assertive. That's why she doesn't do anything here except for this tiny little thing where she gives him the keychain. The reason Chizuru's resisting in this scene, in my opinion, is because she's letting herself just be completely passive to counter Kazuya's passivity so he can take action. He takes action, and again, she's like, this is what I want. This feels like to me, this is kind of what happened here. To some degree, you can just to simplify it. Because Kazuya started to become active, Chizuru said, okay, I'll be in the passive position so you can take the lead. She's letting him take the lead. This is where Chizuru makes a mistake. Just because Kazuya became active during the walk home and became active in reaction to her passivity, it doesn't mean she should just stay passive. This is Chizuru's mistake. Chizuru thought, I'll just keep waiting for him and he'll come. But that's the thing. When you're assertive or when you're passive, you don't just naturally become a different person. Is this starting to sound familiar? Just like Kazuya's feelings don't magically change, your nature and how you act doesn't just change. And that's the problem. Chizuru assumed that because Kazuya was being Kazuya was what is it? He's able to be active and he's able to like actually do things, that she doesn't need to move. She can just stay passive and he'll move. She took this action, so she feels like, okay, I can go back to being passive, he'll move. This is her mistake. He's not going to move. Because if you've been passive for so long, you're not going to just magically become active. That's not going to just happen. That's not how it works. Literally just like emotions. That's not how it works. Right? And that's where Chizuru kind of messed up. She thought he would realize this. Right? And he should have realized he needed to become active. Everything was telling him to be active. Minnie shows up, tells him fucking go there. He stays at home. Minnie tells him text her. He doesn't text her. Your nature doesn't just magically change. But Chizuru hoped that she conveyed here that she wanted him to be assertive, to lead. And she thought he would come and ask her. She thought she gave him the signal to come and ask her. He never shows up. He never asks her. He stays passive. So Chizuru is essentially combating that, in my opinion. So I hope what I highlighted to you here is this. Chizuru appears wishy-washy because in the date, she seemingly wants to be his girlfriend, then she rejects him, and then she kisses him. Now look at Kazuya. In the date, he's mostly passive. He doesn't really do much. When he is active, he retreats almost immediately. Right? Every time there's a confrontation, he retreats almost immediately. This is a repeating pattern. You'll see this regularly. Every time he gets success, there's a challenge and he retreats. He does this constantly. So this sends Chizuru the idea that, okay, I'm too much. Right? He can't handle it. I'm too much. I'm causing him trouble. I don't feel in love. I feel like I don't love, I don't love him enough. Right? I'm not giving him enough love for him to feel comfortable to open up and talk to me. But then on the walk home, he shows he can handle it. Then afterwards, he's passive again the next day. And then she waits, she challenges him, and he could do it. Now he's passive again. Are you seeing a pattern? They mirror each other. It's perspective. Kazuya doesn't think he's being passive. Kazuya does not think he's being passive, and Chizuru does not think she's sending him the wrong signals. Chizuru does not think, because throughout the date she was very clear. Throughout the entire date, she has been very, very clear. She talks to him, she tells him all sorts of stuff. He should know in her mind, except Kazuya needs it spelled the fuck out. But she told him already. So do you see the problem? They literally both appear wishy-washy to each other. And Chizuru is challenging him to not be wishy-washy, whereas and Kazuya, in contrast, is like, oh, what if it doesn't work out again? It's literally how they look to each other. And so it's basically characters wobbling between these roles, where Chizuru is wobbling. Chizuru wants to be passive. She wants to be able to be passive around him and not do much, and he's leading. Right? In contrast, Kazuya wants Chizuru to like show him how she feels and that she's not changing and that she's not wibbly wobbly. But that's the thing. You don't realize Kazuya is the one being wibbly wobbly, whereas Chizuru is the one who's actually been like pretty consistent. It just appears that way. It's all about perspective. You don't realize what's going on. It's about perspective. And Minnie, it just reacts to the respective characters. For instance, Chizuru wants to be reactionary, but Chizuru ultimately has to be actionable around Minnie. So Minnie ends up being reactionary to her. In contrast, Minnie goes to Kazuya, and she ends up being actionable to him, and he becomes reactionary to her, when it should be flipped. Minnie just reflects back at the characters what they want, right? She tells Kazuya, she does things for Kazuya, and she reacts to Chizuru instead of letting Chizuru react. And in contrast, taking action with her, right? Chizuru has to constantly take action with Minnie. She doesn't just get to react. In contrast with Kazuya never gets to take action. He has to always react to Minnie. It's literally about taking your life back and taking control of these situations. So the whole point is that everybody's kind of a fuck up. So with that idea that Minnie is just reflecting back at them what they feel, let's get to the current chapter. This chapter establishes that AI can't move you. You can't feel it can't really understand you, right? Kazuya gets pissed. That's not happening. Like hell, I'm gonna ask her more than just romantic girlfriend territory. The whole thing feels shallow. I can't even use it as a reference. It's shallow. It's fake. Minnie, on the other hand, is very convincing to the point of making him cry. Right? An AI could never do this. An AI can never do this, right? So that means it must be real. Right? Except, much like an AI, a human can just reflect back at you what you're feeling. Right? In that regard, what's the difference? The only difference between us and an AI is that we can make you feel something. Right? Because we're human beings. And so this chapter, what it's actually criticizing is not AI, but the idea that like we aren't necessarily so different from an AI in the sense that, yeah, an AI doesn't create, right? But that doesn't mean we ourselves don't reflect back at each other what we ourselves feel. As in that same sense, art is literally just a reflection of everything else. We are creating, but we are in some ways reflecting back at each other everything that we felt. This isn't Reiji excusing AI and saying AI is good. Just understand. That's not what he's saying. He actually criticizes AI in the chapter and saying it doesn't solve your problems, it won't give you anything. But we as humans can feel so convincing that we think it's real. But in reality, that's just fiction, much like AI itself. Minnie is so convincing in this chapter that even some people in chat agreed and believed her. An AI could never make you cry like this. You can't watch an AI video. You can't talk to an AI and end up crying like this. That's never going to happen, right? You have to lead it. But a person can lead you and make you cry. But you can watch a movie and end up crying. Does that mean the movie was real? Right? Does that mean the movie was real? Your experience is real, but was the movie real? Right? Not so different from this concept of what Minnie did here. Minnie brought Kazuya to tears, literally not realizing she's acting. Literally not realizing she's literally fabricating something for him. It's bringing up this idea of just like how there is a fundamental similarity between acting, reading a script, or going through a process that's not too dissimilar to how an AI simply reads back to you what you yourself feel. Much like how a film can evoke an emotion from you intentionally. Right? A film can intentionally evoke an emotion from you. When you watch a show, they play the music at the right time. They present things at the right time so you feel something. Right? It's intentionally designed to evoke an emotion from you. In some ways, this is kind of criticizing how art is presented at times, where there's a lot of art. The way it functions in terms of like films or shows and stuff, it's designed in such a way that it's intentionally meant to evoke an emotion from you. And you have to wonder to yourself at some point, is it emotional manipulation? Or is it like literally them controlling your emotions? Or are you actually reacting to what the thing is trying to convey to you? Is the thing itself real and what you're feeling is real? Or is what it's telling you, or is it like telling you what to feel? Right? Are you feeling what you feel because it's telling you to feel this way? Or are your emotions genuine and real? And it's kind of crazy that this is seemingly what's being conveyed here. This comparison between Minnie and AI, this idea that like what is art and what is the difference between art and AI, right? And I think what Reiji's doing here is trying to explore that difference. That like there is a difference between the two. But much like how AI can give you exactly what you want, a person can evoke emotion from you by just giving you what you want. Right? So in that sense, it's exploring that difference between AI and actual art. And where does art become real? Where does art actually mean something and become real? And where is and when is it not too different from AI, where it's just evoking and giving you exactly what you want? Because there's a lot of stories that do this. Many stories give you exactly what you want. You feel comfortable, you feel happy, you get here and you get the satisfaction you wanted. Right? A lot of stories do this. And for a story like this one, which actively criticizes the idea of just giving you what you want, right? Doesn't Rent a Girlfriend do that regularly? You're not always getting what you want. We want these characters to date, and this story is like, no, they're not going to just date. Like it has to actually work properly. You can't just date, whoop-de-doo, good to go. And that's why we have this story actively explores these things that make people uncomfortable. That you're not going to find these kinds of things in other in a wholesome story, right? You're not going to go read like Fragrant Flower Blooms of Dignity and get something like, characters literally dealing with so much insecurity and not being cool or interesting, or like not having their own dreams and stuff. Like the way Kazuya is written is fundamentally antithetical to what's his name? What's the guy's name? From Fragrant Flower Blooms of Dignity. I forgot his name. I haven't read the story in a little bit, unfortunately.
But he's fundamentally different from him because that dude, like his friends think he's the coolest guy ever. And he is actually like super cool and he's tall and he's handsome. But literally he's just judged because of prejudice. Kazuya, his name is actually Rentaro? No, I don't think it's Rentaro. Isn't Rentaro from 100 Girlfriends? Fragrant flower blooms with dignity. Characters. Is it actually Rentaro? Oh my god, it is. Rentaro Sumugi. Sumugi. Yeah. It is Rentaro. Yeah. So like Rentaro and Kazuya are fundamentally antithetical to each other. Rentaro is handsome. He's tall. He's cool. He has like goals and aspirations. Like he just needs to accept them, right? Rentaro's whole struggle is accepting himself, but he's already really cool and has literally all the traits to be cool. Kazuya is antithetical to this concept. Kazuya, his friends don't think he's the coolest thing ever. His best friend thinks he's a fucking loser, or doesn't think he's a loser. He thinks he's pathetic, right? He thinks Kazuya isn't that cool, but he believes Kazuya can truly make Chizuru happy, and he believes in Kazuya's dreaming, but he doesn't think Kazuya is cool in any other aspect. There's layers. In contrast, Rentaro's friends think he's the coolest guy ever, and they always try to support him, and they always think he's like he doesn't do bad things, right? Rentaro is just a cool character. He is. But Kazuya is both cool and not cool. He's both. And that's kind of this story. Rent a Girlfriend is a story that literally exists between fiction and reality, intentionally so. The characters are literally cool, cute, but not in a traditional way. They're cute in their own unique ways. It's funny, both Kazuya and Rentaro probably take their family business. It'd be cool if Kazuya doesn't. It'd be really cool if Kazuya doesn't take the family business. Rentaro wants to kind of take the family business, but that's because that's his thing. Like, he's always actually liked it. He's always actually liked it. Have we ever seen Kazuya actually interact with his family business? Ever? Has Kazuya ever actually liked it? No. What do we do? What do we see Kazuya actually liking? He likes helping. He likes working with kids. He likes marine life, right? He likes those two things, but we've never seen Kazuya actually like doing the family stuff. He literally has a similar circumstances as Rentaro, minus, except for his parents, which are a little different from Rentaro, right? Rentaro's parents are like very supportive, very kind. They just want to help. The mom just really cares. Like, she's such a good mom. She really, really fucking cares. But Kazuya's parents, they do care, but at the same time, they're really hard on him. And that duality is the core theme of this story. That, like, this story is exploring that idea between fiction and reality. And that's why this story is not like these other stories, where I do think, in that sense, while something like Fragrant Flower explores a really meaningful topic and prejudice and like how people are judged and perceived, I do think the characters, in my opinion, are very safe. There's nothing offensive about them. And I don't mean that, oh, you have to be offensive to be interesting. I mean that there's nothing about them that makes me think this is a real person. And that's just very unfortunate. I think what makes a real person, in my opinion, is having negative traits, right? Whereas Fragrant Flower, what it loves to do is be like, oh, look, they have a negative trait. Nope, plot twist, it's positive. There's nothing negative about it. And you're like, oh, okay. And it ends up being a funny joke or a meaningful thing of understanding. That's why I like Subaru. Subaru is my favorite character in Fragrant Flower because she does have negative traits, and she does beat herself up about this. And she hates herself for feeling this way. Subaru is like by far the most interesting character in Fragrant Flower, in my opinion. I really like her because she's actually really interesting, and she like actually has like a very complex character to her. If you read chapter 256 towards the end, you can see Minnie once again jumping the gun. She thought he was already home when he wasn't. Nice little foreshadowing. Yeah, Minnie fucked Kazuya over in that chapter. She literally locked him out of the house, which would have led to Kazuya misunderstanding something, and Chizuru had to catch that. If Chizuru had not caught that, Kazuya would have thought she locked me out of the house. Right? Kazuya would have thought, oh my god, Chizuru locked me out of the house. She doesn't trust me. All because of Minnie's actions. But Chizuru caught that, so nothing happened. It's not simply she wants him to man up and make a move on her. It's that Chizuru wants Kazuya to take action. She wants him to be assertive in the relationship because he's not assertive. She realized what she loves about Kazuya is not just like she doesn't mind him being passive, but she wants him to be assertive too. Because Chizuru's love, so Kazuya's love, is a little more. He wants things too. He desires things from Chizuru, but he restrains himself. And a lot of Kazuya's love can appear kind of more innocent and unconditional. But Chizuru's love is actually more selfish. Chizuru is actually quite clingy, and Sayuri has told us this. Chizuru's love is quite selfish. And it's not like it's deprived of any selflessness because it has a lot. You see that in the rejection. Even Minnie says it was for your sake. You see that in her bearing with the blister. You see that in letting him live with her and bearing with all this shit that Minnie was doing and helping him out and taking care of him. She has a lot of selflessness. But Chizuru, at this point in the story, in my opinion, wants to be selfish. She wants to just be able to be selfish with him. And she's just accepting that she wants that. Before, she was holding back, like Kazuya was holding back. He wants to be able to be selfish too. Like, he wants to be able to want things too. So basically, the story is at this point is seemingly both characters misunderstanding what the other person is feeling. And Minnie is kind of getting caught in the crossfire. But at the same time, Minnie is not blameless either, because she kind of created this. Kazuya's mom is actually very supportive. Most of the pressure is from Kazuya's dad too much negative mindsets. No, Kazuya's mom does say negative things too without meaning to. She's the most supportive out of the trio in Kazuya's house. Like, I would say she's easily the most supportive out of all of them because she's so tame and nice. But she does say things too. She does say stuff like that too. I would say Nagomi is supportive as well, but she's also pressures him a lot and pushes him to act in certain ways. And then, of course, his dad does too. But his dad is more so like, he's more stoic and quiet. And usually he tries to get very rough with Kazuya, I guess. Right? He tries to push him into also doing that stuff, right? So I'd say Harumi's the most supportive, but she does things too. She's not exactly like perfect either. Right? So that to me is what this chapter is. This chapter with Minnie is Minnie literally reflecting back at Kazuya what he felt, and it just sounds so convincing that you think it's real. It has to be real. What she's saying has to be real. Right? And she doesn't realize that maybe Chizuru used her. And you're probably like, wait, Chizuru would do that? But think about it. Think about it for a second. Hasn't Kazuya and Chizuru kind of been seemingly using Minnie this whole time? And Minnie lets them use her because she's so involved? Think about it for a sec. Minnie goes to Kazuya's place, and Kazuya uses her, in a sense, to get the answer to Chizuru's stuff. He doesn't move, and Minnie moves for him. And Minnie comes here and seemingly finds a solution for him. So if Kazuya is going to use Minnie, I don't see why Chizuru wouldn't do that either. So in my opinion, what's kind of going on is that Chizuru is actually being stubborn, like really stubborn, and not letting go of this idea that Kazuya has to move. In contrast, Kazuya is being super passive and not moving at all. And so they're literally on two ends of the extremes. And you can see this in chapter 387. Listen to this interaction between Minnie and Chizuru. Chizuru is like a mom in this scene. Kazuya is Minnie's dad. Chizuru's Minnie's mom. Chizuru is like the responsible mom. Kazuya is kind of like the irresponsible dad. And Chizuru sets boundaries and is very clear, and she loves, right? So when Minnie says this, Chizuru like kind of lied to Minnie here, right? You can see Chizuru lied to Minnie here. The date was fun. I might be in love with him, but not enough to date him. That's all. She omits the kiss, intentionally so. She doesn't want Minnie to know about it. Minnie gets excited. She's happy. And she's like, I bet Master is super happy. Chizuru loves the praise, even though she just lied to Minnie. Right? But it's also kind of on Minnie for approaching this in a way that made Chizuru want to lie. What do I mean by this? Well, Minnie always pushes Chizuru for answers, and the moment she gets an answer, she runs to Kazuya to tell him everything. Is that not true? And Chizuru has shown Kazuya many times before she wants to keep their relationship between them and not with Minnie. So Chizuru is setting boundaries. I don't want Minnie to go and tell him what I feel. I want him to come talk to me, because this is between me and him. So on one hand, you can blame Chizuru for you could approach this a different way. On the other hand, you can kind of blame Minnie too, because Minnie made it so Chizuru can't talk to her. So what the fuck did you expect Chizuru to lie to her? In that same way, remember how Minnie tells Kazuya Chizuru always has her guard up? Well, Chizuru has her guard up around Minnie, not Kazuya. She has her guard up around Minnie because Minnie tells him everything. So Minnie created this scenario, and then she assumes Chizuru acts a certain way because of what she herself did. It's perspective. Now listen to this other interaction. Still, I bet this has got Master running in circles. Now I'm going to be looking forward to see how you two progress from here. That's not going to happen. That's what she responds to. And she lies again. He might pay me to see him again in the future. My consciousness won't allow me to string him on any further. What? Wait, but doesn't it sound like a mom setting some rules with her kid? And Minnie is like, wait, no, what? No, I want to do this. What the hell? And she's like, I didn't go into it lightly. This needs to end. Right? Doesn't it feel like a mom making a unilateral decision and telling her daughter to just, not move anymore? Right? Setting clear boundaries. Hey, this is what I've decided. This is what we're going to do. Listen to what Minnie says. You're being stubborn. What did Master say? Mom, you're being stubborn. What the hell? And that actually already tells you what's going on. Chizuru is being stubborn. Just not how we imagined. She is being stubborn, just not how we thought. She's being stubborn in a different way. She's being stubborn in that she wants Kazuya to move, and she's trying to set these clear boundaries with Minnie. But in reality, Chizuru could theoretically just break these boundaries with Minnie, and it could just all work out. But it's also partly Minnie's fault that Chizuru never does. You see how it keeps looping? It's literally everybody's fault. And it's literally a family that's dysfunctional and not knowing how to drop their roles that they're so familiar with. Minnie doesn't know how to not be constantly involved. She doesn't know how to be passive. Minnie does not know how to be passive. So Chizuru feels like she has to be assertive to force Minnie into a passive position. In contrast, Kazuya, with Minnie, it always turns passive. And Minnie is constant assertiveness forces Kazuya into a passive position, never realizing she's doing this. But Kazuya lets her do this, right? Kazuya lets her be passive. So literally, it's kind of like parents not knowing how to manage their kid. And that's kind of what Minnie is. It's parents not knowing how to manage their kid. And then if you dig into it deeper, you can think of it like this. Minnie is kind of like the kid being stuck between her parents, trying to get them to talk, and not realize, and trying to get them together, thinking she's the problem, not thinking she's the problem, not realizing she is the problem. She's kind of like the reverse of a kid, whereas she's kind of like a kid trying to keep the family together, and it's not the kid's responsibility to keep the family together. And usually, you would say it's not the kid's fault. You would say it's not the kid's fault, right? In this case, it kind of low-key is. Low-key, not completely low-key, right? It's not on Minnie to make to get Kazuya and Chizuru to talk. It is not. Just as it is not on a child, it is not the responsibility of a child to get her parents to talk. A child is innocent. A child does not understand. It is not their fault that this happens. However, you could also flip it and say it is kind of Minnie's fault because she's the one getting all up in their business because she's not a kid. She's an adult. She's 20 years old. She's getting all up in their business. She's doing this. It's an active choice. You see what I mean? And so you have this contrast between parent-child dynamics versus actual adults who aren't kids and are essentially wobbling between being a kid and being adult. And the reality is what Chizuru actually needs to do is just let go of her stubbornness and talk to Kazuya. In contrast, you also need Kazuya to stop being a fucking idiot, stop being afraid, and just talk to her. And you need Minnie to just back off. Minnie needs to just back off. Every single character needs to change their roles. Right? Chizuru is being stubborn, Kazuya is being passive, and Minnie is just too fucking involved. And this is all gonna come to a head. And I think this is where something interesting I can say can be said here. In the cohabitation, Minnie does this kind of stuff a lot. You can see this in chapter 313. Minnie gets too involved, and it blows up, but she never gets hurt, right? Because it's happening in a safe space. Here's a good example. By the way, what did you think, Master? About Chizuru-san's bunny outfit. She presents a scenario for him. Chizuru says, you know what? I don't need you to fucking butter me up like that, right? Kazuya says she's cute. Minnie sees this. Chizuru gets pissed. Minnie's like, what? How could this happen? And then Kazuya gets pissed at Minnie. But then Chizuru realizes, no, he actually meant it. And she takes it back, and nothing happens to Minnie. There's no consequences to Minnie's actions, right? Because it's happening in a safe environment. Now it's not a safe environment anymore. And Minnie can get hurt. This can blow up in her face. That's what she doesn't realize. She can get hurt. This can blow up in her face. And Chizuru might, actually use her considering she's the one who's getting all up in her fucking business. That's why I'm kind of I keep getting more and more evidence that keeps telling me, okay, there's a real chance that like Chizuru actually used Minnie, which seems hurtful, right? It seems hurtful because Chizuru does care about Minnie, and I think this is pretty much all the characters hurting each other without meaning to. Kazuya hurt Chizuru by being passive. Chizuru hurt Kazuya in the rejection, and then kissed him right after. And now, both Kazuya and Chizuru might end up hurting Minnie. And I think this is what's going to happen. It's going to blow up in Minnie's face. She's not going to realize she kind of created this scenario on herself, and it's kind of all her fault, in a way. Just because she got too fucking involved. When she could have just backed the fuck up. And I think that might be what's going to happen. Shit's getting real now. And Minnie is too involved and is going to blow up in her face. And I think something's going to happen where, the characters are going to swap roles. It's not going to just start great and perfect, right? Because their relationship didn't start all great and perfect. It never did. So naturally, it's not going to just play out great and perfect either. Minnie doesn't realize what she's doing, and she's never really had consequences for many of her actions before. So it feels like now it's really going to blow up in Minnie's face. And then at the same time, you're going to get kind of like a lot of readers don't realize what Kazuya did. They still don't. So that could be another thing that's going to happen. And then finally, we could see Chizuru Chizuru maybe seeing it from Kazuya's POV too. So it feels like this like entire family is like due for a fight. Like some sort of conflict. This entire family feels like it's overdue for some sort of conflict. Which is unfortunate because they seem so close. And I'm gonna be really like it's gonna be really interesting seeing how that's all gonna happen. Will distrust of men be some mini BS? Then Kazuya wakes the fuck up. She invited him to her house. They then let me live there and have a key. How does she distrust men? That realizes she can't trust Minnie. I don't think Kazuya will just realize. I can see Kazuya slowly starting to think what Minnie is saying doesn't add up. And he already kind of knows this a little bit. But distrust of men does sound like something Minnie would say for a very simple reason. There's a lot of evidence for Minnie's POV to think this is true. Why? Here's an easy one. The curtain is down. That certainly symbolizes only girls are left in the house. Minnie never saw another guy come into the house except for Umi. And Chizuru seemed kind of apprehensive around Umi. Right? And Kazuya told Minnie, remember what Kazuya told Minnie? Kazuya told Minnie, oh, what if we hadn't been there? What if he had done something? Right? So it does sound like something Minnie would think. But Chizuru doesn't distrust men, nor does she distrust Kazuya. Because she gave him a key. So it doesn't add up. So it does seem like something Minnie would think about Chizuru. She thinks Chizuru distrusts men. That's why Chizuru... And then here's more evidence to highlight this for you, why Minnie would think this. Chizuru seemingly doesn't talk to Kazuya, rejects him, says all that stuff to Minnie, and then when Minnie shows up, she tells Minnie she doesn't tell Kazuya. You see how Minnie could think, oh, distrust of men. Chizuru doesn't trust men. That's why she's not telling you this stuff. Right? She has trust issues with men. This is what this all must mean. It must be Chizuru has trust issues with men, not realizing she probably has more trust issues with women. In particular, girls like Minnie or Ruka, or not necessarily, not even that. Like mostly just distrust with Minnie. I think it's more distrust with Minnie because of how Minnie acts. I think that's the big illusion of the arc. I think I said this on Twitter. The big illusion of this arc, in my opinion, is that the cohabitation in particular, is that you think this is about trust with Kazuya. In reality, I think this is about Chizuru's trust with Minnie. And Chizuru feels like she can't trust Minnie. And you can see this very plainly with one particular chapter. You can see this very plainly with one particular chapter. Look at how Chizuru just opens up to Sumi. Look at how Chizuru just opens up to Sumi. Sumi just asks her, gives her a hug, makes her feel comfortable, and Chizuru just opens up to her and tells her everything. Isn't that interesting? In contrast, you have a chapter a little bit after this where Minnie invades Chizuru's private space, makes Chizuru feel uncomfortable because they're both naked in the bath, literally checks her out, and then when Minnie gets pissed enough, she literally jumps in the bath with her, invades her private space. Huh. It makes you wonder why Chizuru would have trust issues with Minnie. I don't care if you guys haven't had trouble or if you've been appreciative. That's not what I'm talking about. Hasn't him having him around made you happy, made your heart pound for even a second? Be honest. Right? He didn't say anything to you, did he? Then Minnie backs off. Isn't that interesting? Huh. Only then does Chizuru talk to her. Doesn't that seem interesting? And you wonder why Chizuru is seemingly jealous of Minnie at times, or pissed off at Minnie at times. This is all about trust with Minnie, not with Kazuya. She opens up to Kazuya. She tells him the truth. She doesn't trust Minnie. That's why. Minnie has not shown herself to be reliable. Ever. The only time Minnie was seemingly reliable was when she told Chizuru to get her shit together and to talk to Kazuya. But she was always assuming stuff even then. Right? And I think this is about calling Minnie out on her bullshit and then afterwards realizing how they appreciate her and they still love her for who she is. This is, I think, what it's going to be. I think the big thing that's going to happen soon is this is going to blow the fuck up in Minnie's face. And I think after a while, Chizuru's gonna realize like she maybe misses her or really cares about her, and that Minnie was important to her too. And Chizuru knows this. It's not that Chizuru doesn't know this. Chizuru does love Minnie. You see that on her birthday. Minnie wants to take a picture saying, I was thinking about how I don't have a single photo with all three of us in it. I feel blessed to be living together like this. I just thought it'd be nice to get a photo for my birthday. Well, I don't really mind. For real? Right? Minnie values them. She does feel blessed with them. Right? And they care for her too. Kazuya says, I made things difficult for you today again. No, it's not really your fault, you know? Hey, look, Kazuya's still doing his bullshit. He's still saying sorry. He's still saying he's making it difficult. And she says, besides, as long as the birthday girl is happy, it's fine by me. She wants to celebrate Minnie. She still cares about her. But Minnie is fucking up. So I do think that's might be what's going to happen soon. I think there's going to be, I don't know. Will Kazuya talk to Chizuru? Will both Kazuya and Minnie talk to Chizuru? That would be interesting. Both Kazuya and Minnie go to see Chizuru. I don't know. This feels like it's, I don't know. Maybe Chizuru and Kazuya will end up in a fight. And maybe Minnie will realize it's her fault. That could be it. Right? Maybe Kazuya and Chizuru might end up in a fight and then Minnie realizes it's her fault. But like they realize how it's kind of their fault too. I don't know. That's how I'm seeing things currently. I can also read what I wrote on Twitter real quick. But yeah, I think that's such a cool exploration in the recent chapter about the idea of like the difference between AI and real art. And humans, right? Like what separates a human from AI? And we say it's the ability to create, but then we can also make things that only reflect back at us exactly what we're feeling. Right? And that is so perfectly shown in a character like Minnie, who represents the audience, who is a YouTuber and a cosplayer. She represents every single aspect of being a shapeshifter. Literally someone who becomes other people. When Minnie is first introduced, I said this before, when Minnie is first introduced, Minnie literally does what she does because of a, because a YouTuber tells her to. She literally does what she does because a YouTuber tells her to. Was that because what she believed? Right? And she still does this. She still claims to do cosplay because her friends do cosplay, because her friends motivate her to do cosplay. So it raises the question, does Minnie love cosplay or not? Does she just do it because other people tell her to? In reality, I think Minnie does like cosplay, but she's telling herself the only reason she does it is because of other people, when that's a lie. If they both go to talk with Chizuru, then Minnie will be like Nagomi to Kazuya's parents. Oh my god, you're right. Where Nagomi was like present for everything. Right? We still don't understand Minnie yet. Yeah, and that's because Minnie doesn't even really understand herself. So here, I have a perfect example from you. I have a perfect example to show you why we don't understand Minnie. Minnie and Kazuya take the test together. Minnie wants to look at what Minnie does here. This part's so interesting. Have you ever cheated on your partner? Minnie says no immediately. Kazuya hesitates and she looks at him. She judges him. She says a whole bunch of stuff. Then why aren't you pressing the button already? Right? Oh, don't freak out. I'm not judging you. I'll, however, post about it on my socials. It's not like that. Kazuya says no. Now, notice what Minnie does here. They get asked a question, do you value your lover more than your friends? Minnie closes Kazuya's eyes. Would you mind looking away for a sec? Isn't that interesting? She wants him to open up to her. She wants him to open up to her. She judges him for opening up to her, but she doesn't want to be seen herself. Right? She doesn't want him to see what she puts down herself. She can look, but he can't. Isn't that interesting? That's the issue with Minnie. That's why Kazuya at the end of this chapter says, I don't know anything about Yamori-san. The reason we don't know anything about her is because she demands we open up to her and then never opens up herself. Never fully opens up about who she is, her past, her history, what she's feeling, why she does any of the stuff that she does. Why does she view Kazuya like a dream? Like some sort of, this thing that she believes in, right? Why does that matter to her so much? What does she have any dreams, aspirations, goals of her own? Right? We don't know anything about Minnie. We still don't know anything about her past. We learned a little bit about her high school. We hear Minnie say stuff a lot, but I don't think we've actually had Minnie truly open up ever. And this is so fitting because Minnie is a reflection of Chisuru. Chisuru used to not open up like this to some degree. Right? If anything, I think Chisuru actually opens up more than Minnie ever did. I think Chisuru opens up more than Minnie ever did. In contrast, Minnie actually hides more than Chisuru. Minnie says Chizuru's guarded around her. She doesn't realize Chizuru's guarded around her because she's guarded. She doesn't realize Chizuru is guarded around her because Minnie hides herself. She's the one who never shows herself. Right? Why do you think on the date, when Kazuya is with Chizuru and he's seemingly kind of acting like Minnie, he's guarded around Chizuru. He doesn't open up emotionally to Chizuru because Minnie teaches him not to open up emotionally, right? When she judges him like this, and she teaches him not to open up emotionally, Kazuya starts to do this around Chizuru, which makes Chizuru feel uncomfortable because Chizuru is opening up emotionally to him. And he's not being vulnerable too and telling her it's okay to be vulnerable around me. Which is why Chizuru never feels like she's in love. Or never feels like she's in love enough. Because she doesn't feel an emotional connection where he opens up to her. And this mirrors Minnie herself, who literally does this the whole time. Minnie invades your private space. Minnie gets all up in your fucking business. Minnie demands you show yourself to her, but then never shows herself. Right? And you see this as early as when they go out drinking. When they go out drinking, look at what Minnie does. Aren't you bummed, Master, being separated from Mizuhara-san? Where's the boundless wave of sadness that's supposed to crush you? Kazuya breaks apart, starts crying, but what does Minnie feel about any of this? She wants you know what she's doing here? Do you know what Minnie's actually doing here? What Minnie's actually doing here is demanding you open up to validate her feelings. Because she's actually sad too. But notice how Minnie never shows she's sad. She wants you to be sad so she can validate her feelings. But she's never going to actually show her feelings. In fact, Minnie never ever does here. Minnie never shows her feelings here. And you see Kazuya intentionally contrast Minnie here. Right? Minnie tells him, oh, Chizuru is being sneaky. Chizuru is just, she's just being devious. She's just using you. And then Kazuya's like, no way. While I'm grateful that you're on my side, I trust her completely. I think this is already setting the tone. That this is gonna have to happen at some point. Minnie, I'm sad, cry for me. Pretty much. She wants you to open up, to get emotional, but she doesn't get emotional herself. She never creates a safe space for you to open up. She wants you to open up to her. And she doesn't, and that reflects how Minnie has her own unaddressed traumas that she's not dealing with, and she projects onto other people. That's why she mirrors Mommy. That's why there's a parallel between her and Mommy. Mommy wants you to be serious. Mommy wants Chizuru to not lie to her, but doesn't create a safe space for Chizuru to not lie to her, which then validates her feelings and perceptions of Chizuru, which is literally what she does in Hawaiians. Isn't that literally what Minnie's doing here? Isn't that literally what Minnie's doing here? Reinforcing reinforcing Chizuru's distrust in other women because of how they treat and act around her. In contrast to when Chizuru talks to Harumi, or when Chizuru talks to Nagomi, and finds and feels a safe space of comfort. When Chizuru goes to talk to Harumi, she finally sees an actual mother figure who supports her, and makes her feel like she's not doing the wrong thing. Whereas Minnie constantly reinforces to Chizuru, you're doing the wrong thing. That you're not there yet, that you need to change, that you should do this. You always suggest to her what to do. Whereas the other women in her life tell her, no, you're doing okay. Minnie is literally not a supportive woman in Chizuru's life. She wants to be her sister, but refuses to ever truly open up and let Chizuru be a sister to her. So Chizuru always has to be a mother to Minnie. Chizuru always has to constantly be a mother to Minnie. She can't be an actual partner to Minnie. This is why Kazuya has a child-adult relationship with Chizuru, where he bobbles between the two. Kazuya appears like a kid. Kazuya appears like he has a parent-child relationship with Chizuru, where Chizuru is the parent and Kazuya is the kid. In reality, you saw on the walk home, and you've seen in many other instances, Kazuya can be an adult. And he has shown many times he can be. The reason he acts like a kid is because of Minnie. He interacts with Minnie. He lets Minnie guide him around, and she is a kid who reinforces a kid-like relationship with other people and doesn't have a real meaningful connection with them. In so doing, reinforcing a parent-child-like relationship between Kazuya and Chizuru. That's the issue. That's why Chizuru doesn't open up to Minnie. She doesn't feel like she's talking to an adult. Whenever Minnie gets a secret on Chizuru, right? Minnie has helped Chizuru in the past, but whenever Minnie gets something with Chizuru, she doesn't help her out. She uses it to her advantage. Case in point, what did Minnie do when they went cosplaying? What did Minnie do when they went to cosplay? She told Chizuru, she asked Chizuru to go with her. Chizuru says no. What does Minnie do? She uses a private thing between her and Chizuru to get Chizuru to go. This is seemingly harmless. It's kind of cute and it's seemingly harmless. But it's literally Minnie using Chizuru's love for Kazuya to get Chizuru to go to this thing with her. Right? It's seemingly harmless. But this reinforces a core fundamental issue. Trust. How can Chizuru trust Minnie if Minnie will use any opportunity she gets to get Chizuru to go? Instead of just talking to her honestly and saying, please, I want you to go. I really want you to go. Like, you're like a sister to me. You mean a lot. I want you to be there. I would really appreciate your help. Like, you can move it around, please. Right? Instead of just being honest with Chizuru, she does this. Which, again, it's harmless, but it reinforces a theme of trust between Minnie and Chizuru. The reason Kazuya has some trust issues with Chizuru is because he gets most of his interpretations of Chizuru through Minnie. And he's developed a trusting relationship with Minnie, not realizing that trust is built on distrust. You see what's going on? And I think that's literally kind of what's happening. I think that's what's going on. It's Minnie. Minnie doesn't realize she's creating this entire scenario around Chizuru because of how she acts. Minnie has also never opened up to either of them. She's still a mystery. She kind of opened up to Kazuya in chapter 3, in the chapter after this one. But she didn't really open up. She kind of just, opened up a little. Right? Notice how Kazuya asked her, do you have a boyfriend? Doesn't Minnie seem apprehensive here? What are you asking that for? I'm just curious. You seem like I have a lot of friends. Wouldn't be surprised if you had one. Look at Minnie here. Doesn't she seem a little more apprehensive? Like this bothered her. This is a personal question. And Kazi has never asked this of Minnie. Do you think I have one, after living together? Well, I have a lot of fun with my normal life, so it's pretty whatever. I'm happy with my work and friends. She didn't really answer. Did you notice that? She didn't really answer. She did, but didn't. It doesn't seem like she has one, but she didn't really answer. She says, I'm okay with not having one, but she kind of just misdirected away, right? Well, I guess that's how people think nowadays. It's very like Yamori-san. Besides, isn't being in love kind of lonely? Notice how Minnie talks about love here. I mean, confessions are something you've got to do on your own, If you want to keep the most important person to you by your side, then you can't rely on others forever. By the end of it all, you have to spend countless restless nights alone, even if you manage to talk with someone about it. It's a lonely battle to get rid of loneliness. It's like Minnie can't handle this. She can't handle being alone. And that literally reflects Kazuya's pain back at him. The 3-month time skip. Right? But this is not really accurate. There is loneliness to love. She's not wrong. There is loneliness to love. But at the same time, there's also truth to love. Sorry, not truth. What is it? Connection in love. Right? You're not really going through it alone completely. Not really. Right? You do go through a lot alone, yes. There is stuff you do go through alone, but the fundamental basis of love is you making a connection with someone else. Is that or is that not true? Right? Is that or is that not true? So this is actually hinting at more of Minnie's character. That there's something else here. Right? That something happened and she's lonely. And she doesn't feel like she can get her own love. And it makes you wonder, how did Minnie come to this conclusion? How did Minnie ever end up with this conclusion that, she can't do things on her own and that, she's not fit for a lonely battle? For starters, I'm quick to lose interest. My dance club in high school, my summer gymnastics, I never really continued with any of it. Was there a different reason she never continued? Wow, I didn't know that. Her high school years. I've actually kept up with my cosplay, but that's gotta be because of my friends. That has to be the reason. She can't say it confidently. She doesn't say it confidently. She doesn't say it's because of my friends. She says that's gotta be because of them. But that's false. We know that's false. Why? What I just showed you. She did this all on her own. Her friends, she literally tells you in this chapter, her friends bailed. Where is it? I've asked one of my cosplayer friends to come, but she had to change of plans all of a sudden. I'm just really short-handed, So you pulled this all on your own. She made Chizuru's cosplay, she got Kazuya's cosplay, she ordered her own cosplay from Amazon, and she set up that entire event completely on her own. So does Minnie do this on her own? Or is this in reality Minnie lying to herself? That the only reason she kept up with cosplay is because of her friends. Maybe she just never cared about dance or gymnastics. And I think it's interesting she says summer gymnastics and my dance club in high school. Maybe there was a reason you never continued. My cosplay friends, they invite me for get-togethers and stuff. When I see everyone else working hard, it makes me work hard too. Her eyes are closed when she says all this. And it's because she's not telling the truth. Not the complete truth. Maybe she's even lying to herself. I'm not fit for a lonely battle like that. That's a lie. You're lying to yourself. Yes, you are. You've shown you are. You do a lot of things on your own. If anything, I envy you. I wish I could find something that I could love as much as you do, Master. Don't you love cosplay? Don't you love them? Don't you love Kazuya? Doesn't she love Kazuya and Chizuru so much that she's invested her entire time into their relationship? Doesn't she cherish the shit out of them? And she's the one doing all the moving for them this entire time. Right? She's lying to herself. Just like Mommy is lying to herself. That's why you have a parallel between Mommy and Minnie here. That's the whole point. They're parallels of each other because both are lying to themselves. Mommy lies to herself nearly the whole fucking story. Minnie lies to herself nearly the whole fucking story. We think Chizuru is lying to herself. The only time Chizuru seemingly lies to herself, where she has to convince herself of something, is when she's going through fucking grief. Is when she just lost her grandmother, and what's her name? Mommy's on her ass, Ruka's on her ass, and everyone else is on her fucking case constantly. That's when Chizuru starts lying to herself. And then when she just gets a bit of comfort, she stops lying to herself. It's almost like Chizuru doesn't really do that. It's Minnie, it's Mommy, it's all the other characters. And they force these expectations on her, which makes her lie to herself, which makes her doubt her own feelings, which makes her think she's not good enough, which is why the rejection happens. Chizuru has been conditioned for so long she's not good enough, when she's more than good enough. And she just needs to be told that. This is why I don't think like Chizuru is... This is why I refuse to blame Chizuru for any of this crap. I think it's actually more of Minnie's issue. I think Minnie is kind of the center of all of this. And yeah, Kazuya is being passive and Chizuru is being stubborn, but I think Chizuru is in the right. I think everyone's kind of at fault, but I think Chizuru is kind of in the right because Chizuru has communicated to him constantly. Like, someone asked me on Twitter, oh, if Chizuru wants to keep the relationship private, why doesn't she just tell him? She fucking did. Like, a lot. She just didn't look him dead in the fucking eye and tell him, hey, I don't want you to tell anyone else. But think about it. They kept their entire rental relationship secret for a year and a half. They're still keeping their relationship a secret even now. Right? Chizuru doesn't tell Minnie the truth, but she tells him the truth. They don't share stuff with Ruka. Kazuya is keeping that secret safe for Chizuru. So it's almost like Chizuru wants to keep this shit private. She's constantly shown she wants to keep it private, but she'll tell him the truth. She just hasn't looked him literally dead in the eye and said this. Unless she did and I forgot. That's just it. She just tells him, don't lie to me. That's the issue, is like Kazuya is like seemingly forgetting Chizuru in favor of what Minnie presents him. Kazuya is seemingly forgetting Chizuru in favor of what Minnie presents him, even though Chizuru has shown him constantly and communicated constantly. That's why I feel like it's not really Chizuru's fault. She's communicated to him constantly. The entire basis of the cohabitation is that you can't read a person's mind. You can't know what they're thinking. And Chizuru constantly explains to Kazuya when she realizes she gave him the wrong impression. This is a regular occurrence. The chapter I showed you before is a great example of this. Chapter 313. Kazuya says this. Chizuru says, don't do that. You're not the type to do that stuff. When she realizes he actually meant it, she says, sorry, if you're serious, that makes me happy. Right? She always clarifies. And he interprets it as mixed signals. when she's just clarifying to him, just making things clear to him. So she's constantly had to clarify, and I think Chizuru's clarified plenty, and she shouldn't need to constantly keep clarifying. Like, there has to be a point where Kazuya has to start clarifying what he's feeling. There has to be a point where Kazuya has to tell her what he's thinking, why he's acting like he is. And while Kazuya and Chizuru should maybe just put their own, like, Chizuru should maybe stop being stubborn, put it to the side and talk to him, and Kazuya should maybe stop being passive and just talk to her. The truth is, I think Chizuru's in the right. In my opinion, I think Chizuru's in the right. Kazuya is not going to get an answer from Minnie. Chizuru did not tell Minnie about the kiss. Kazuya is not going to get an answer from Minnie. What Minnie describes to Kazuya here is literally his own feelings. Not anything Chizuru said. Chizuru did not say any of this. And this is telling you, you're not going to get an answer for the kiss by constantly talking to Minnie, or going somewhere else, or doing all this other stuff. You're never going to get an answer any other way than talking to Chizuru. And this is Chizuru setting very clear boundaries. Hey, talk to me. You want an answer? Get it from me. And the reason we can't figure out the meaning is because our mistake is interpreting it as simply, I love you. When it isn't. It's not simply, I love you. She literally told you in the rejection that she has more feelings than just loving him. She has a lot more emotions. So, and Kazuya said this too in chapter 165, that his feelings are, I love you isn't enough for his feelings. I still think they're both fucking up. No one's right, in my opinion. I think Chizuru is somewhat fucking up. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think Chizuru's being a little too stubborn. But at the same time, Kazuya and Minnie are, like, kind of being more jackasses than anything else. I still think Chizuru's more in the right. I do think everyone's fucking up. I do agree. Everyone's fucking up. But I do think Chizuru's more in the right. Because Chizuru's actually being responsible. Chizuru is actually, like, telling him to talk to her. Right? Now, here. This is where I can give you some leeway. Chizuru isn't telling him he just talked to her, right? She could just text him. She could just text him and just be like, hey, just talk to me. No one else. But I know why she's not doing this. And this is where Chizuru's being a little stubborn. I know why Chizuru isn't doing this. The reason Chizuru doesn't just text him and tell him just talk to me is simple. She has been moving the whole fucking time. When is it his turn to move? She has been moving the whole time. Right? And he showed he can move. When he made a move, she kissed him. So, in my opinion, this is Chizuru taking pride in herself. Chizuru respecting herself enough to say, you're not going to get an answer unless you talk to me. I have done enough. I have moved enough. I have done plenty. You saw how much I did. You saw how hard I worked. You saw how much I've communicated. She doesn't know how hard Kazuya, like, she's seen how hard Kazuya worked, sure, but there has to be a stopping point. Can we not agree on that? That there has to be a stopping point where Kazuya has to do something. And Minnie coming to accost Chizuru did not help this. It simply reinforced to Chizuru what she already knew. That, like, Kazuya isn't going to move, and so she didn't give Minnie an answer. She told her about a play. She gave him a date. And that's it. And if he wants to know more, he has to come talk to her. She's baiting him out. And I get it. It's easy to say, okay, Chizuru's being unfair. And I think, yeah, Chizuru is being unfair. But that's the point. It's not about being fair. It's not about being fair. I think we've done fair plenty. We've done plenty of fair. But love is not fair. Nothing about love is fair. Who are we kidding? Love isn't just fair. There is a lot of unfairness in love. Right? That's just true. There is a lot of unfairness in love, and that's normal. That's completely normal. Because you have selfish desires, you want things, and you're not bad for wanting these things. And Chizuru has accepted she's not bad for wanting things. She's okay with having her selfish love. Her love is selfish. It has a lot of selfishness and it has a lot of selflessness. She's also very responsible. But there has to come a point where Kazuya has to move. Chizuru can't keep asking him to move, right? Let's say your mom told you to do the dishes a bunch of times. Okay? When does it become your responsibility to just fucking do the dishes instead of her constantly coming to tell you do the dishes? Is that not just a fact? She told you like 5 times do the dishes. And you have a tendency to neglect them. When is it your fucking responsibility to do the goddamn dishes? Chizuru has done plenty. She's communicated to him plenty. She said plenty. She shared all of her feelings, and then she kissed him. When is it his responsibility to go and talk to her? Why is it so on Chizuru? Why is it so much her fault now? Yeah, she kissed him. Sure, it's unfair. She didn't explain. Why don't you just go ask? Why is it on her to text you? Why is it on Chizuru to fucking text Kazuya? It's not. It's not on her. She made a move, he's not moving. How's it her fucking fault? And if she and this is where I think it's very important to point out something kind of important here. Very important to point out something very important here. If Chizuru moves here, and this is how I view this. If Chizuru moves here, it sets a precedent for Kazuya that this behavior is acceptable. Is that or is that not true? If Chizuru moves here, it sets a precedent for Kazuya that is acceptable for him to be passive and not do anything. And that he'll get rewarded for that. Is that or is that not true? He is doing nothing. He has wasted the last 3 days doing absolutely nothing. And if Chizuru talks to him, if Chizuru moves, she rewards this behavior. Much like how when Kazuya was rejected, whether Chizuru knew it or not at the time when she was rejecting him, it was a call out to Kazuya's behavior that he is not emotionally being vulnerable with her. That he is not there. And if Chizuru accepted that Kazuya, which I don't think she was completely aware of at the time, if Chizuru accepted that Kazuya, she would be accepting fiction. If Chizuru accepted the Kazuya on the date, she would be accepting a fake Kazuya. She wouldn't be accepting the real him. In so doing, she would be signaling to him that this behavior is okay, that you should pretend to be someone else. I love this someone else. She doesn't love this other person. She loves the real him. But he never shows his real self. Every time he does, he retreats. He retreats constantly. Chizuru literally knew what the fuck he was implying when he was mentioning sex, and she went along with it. And he did nothing. Like, bro, how many more signals do you need? How much more clear can she be? When is it Kazuya's turn to fucking do something? You see what I mean? If Chizuru moves here, it rewards his behavior. If Chizuru moves here, it tells Kazuya it's okay to be passive like this. You'll get what you want for not doing anything. And I think when Kazuya shows up, it'll be interesting because I wonder to myself, would Chizuru say something like, "Are you content being lied to like this?" Like she'll tell him, "I fucking lied to Minnie. Are you content being lied to like this? Or do you want to actually fucking talk to me?" See what I mean? I think that's the interesting bit here, is like, I think Chizuru, I genuinely think Chizuru lied to Minnie. And it's because Kazuya won't get an answer from anything else. And if she accepts this behavior, she's settling. If Chizuru does this, she's settling, and Chizuru is done settling. Chizuru is not settling anymore. She wants the real him. We've seen Kazuya. We know the real Kazuya. He's assertive. He says what he wants. He's pretty straightforward, and he does things. And he's very kind-hearted. And he's horny. And she knows he's horny. And she doesn't mind. So, in my opinion, Chizuru is completely in the right. Yeah, she could put it to the side and just talk to him. But it would reward this behavior. It would reward this behavior, and that's unacceptable in a relationship. And Chizuru is setting very clear boundaries. No more of this bullshit, talk to me. But she's not going to tell him, talk to me. She's not going to go and tell him, talk to me, because if she does this, again, it rewards the behavior. Chizuru literally holding firm is the point. Chizuru is literally sticking to being passive. I'm not going to do anything until you do something. You're the one who's supposed to be assertive here. You're the one who's supposed to move. I made my move. It's your turn. The ball is in your court. You're the one not throwing. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to come to you and make you move. This is literally a reenactment of the 3-month time skip. The current events are a reenactment of the 3-month time skip, and it's showing you something very, very simple. In the 3-month time skip, it was kind of both their fault. Now it's Kazuya's fault, full front and center. Period. It is his fault. Because in the 3 months, it was both of their faults. Chizuru put herself aside and said, you know what? Yeah, I ghosted him. That is partially my fault. I'm going to step up and fix this. Kazuya, on the other hand, in the 3-month time skip, never addressed the fact. Kazuya, on the other hand, in the 3-month time skip, never addressed the fact that he is the reason it lasted 3 months. He's the one who never came up and talked to her. He's the one who tried to use rental. He's the one who tried to use every other method other than just coming up and fucking talking to her. So, we're looping back to the 3-month time skip. Now it's 3 days. And the question simply becomes, okay, Chizuru is not in the wrong anymore. It just looks like she is. When is it your turn to move? She took action. Like action without any other meaning than the action itself. Are you going to come and talk to her? And he isn't. And this is literally telling you, like when you actually finally get the reveal, this is literally telling you, go back to the 3-month time skip and realize Kazuya did this to himself. That's just a fact. He did this to himself. And he's doing it to himself now. It was a choice. The 3 months was a choice. He's doing it again now. And Chizuru is no longer rewarding this behavior. It was partially her fault for not responding at the time. It was literally half and half. Back then, it was half and half. Now, it's clearly his fault. Back then, it was both of them. Yeah, Chizuru didn't text him. That is on her. Chizuru did not text him. That is completely on her. She didn't text him that 3 months too. That's on her. Kazuya didn't do anything else. Kazuya knocked on her door. Kazuya literally just, sent her a text indirectly. And then Kazuya, tried to use rental. A whole bunch of times. He tried to pay her to meet him. And she didn't. He never just went to her door and just said, hey, why are you not talking to me? He never did that. He even realized, oh shit, she didn't block me. It's almost like it's his own goddamn fault. And he could have moved. Now there's literally nothing holding Kazuya back, and he's not moving. So when does it become your responsibility to fucking move? When is it your own goddamn fault to move? People don't realize if you cut out everything Chizuru said during the date will be close to silent as Kazuya was too nervous to start a normal conversation. So how had Kazuya done enough? He hadn't. That's the thing that Redditors seemingly want to ignore. Love is an active choice, and Kazuya was not making an active choice. He was not. That is just a fact. He wasn't. He made active choices before. He didn't give up. He made some active choices here and there, but most of it was him actually being quite passive. While Chizuru is being assertive, Chizuru is the one moving for that whole month that was like 100 plus chapters, 150 plus chapters, right? It was like I think it was like 100 chapters of literally Chizuru moving. So when is it on Kazuya to move? Right? When is it on him to move? That's the thing. Kazuya is literally too passive in the date. He's not doing anything. Most of it is literally him just kind of following her lead. It's his date, and he's following her lead. And I think when that realization fucking kicks into gear, you're gonna be like, oh, that's why that happened. And of course, people won't buy it at first, right? I think that's gonna be the reveal that's gonna be coming up. Minnie and Kazuya, like literally what they're both doing. It's Minnie and Kazuya. That's gonna be the reveal. The reveal is gonna be the fucking obvious, which is Kazuya not doing anything, and then Minnie, literally just kind of making this all just be fucking stupid, and he's listening to her. And literally that's gonna be the reveal. I think that Kazuya seemingly hasn't been really doing anything. And Chizuru's been the one that's been moving the whole fucking time. In contrast, Chizuru doesn't trust Minnie because Minnie does this crap that she does. And she did that because Mommy and Ruka confronted her after the kiss. I mean, yeah, but like, notice how she just opens up to Sumi. She didn't just do it because of Mommy and Ruka, unless you're talking about the 3 months. Yeah, unless you're talking about the 3 months, where like, that's the other thing. That's actually, you just made a great point. Actually, you just made a great fucking point. You made a fantastic point. When Chizuru doesn't talk to Kazuya in chapter 188, everyone blames her. Everyone gets upset at Chizuru in this scene. But what happened in the chapter before this one, in the chapters before this scene, where Chizuru is just standing there not talking to Kazuya? Kazuya saw Ruka did some shit. He saw Ruka acting tough and trying to set some grounds. He knew Ruka was very apprehensive and defensive of him trying to talk to Chizuru. And he saw Chizuru and Ruka leave the house together. Suddenly, after this point, Chizuru starts acting like this. It's almost like Ruka did something. And what does Kazuya assume? Kazuya assumes it has to do with the trip. And he freaks out and starts explaining. Okay, maybe not completely on Kazuya, but you know, he should have known Ruka would pull some shit, because she always does. So shouldn't have been a little bit on him to recognize, hey, something's wrong with Chizuru. Not completely on him, right? This one isn't completely on him. Kind of partially Chizuru's fault. But at the same time, he knows Chizuru is going through grief right now. She's not some iron lady. He established this to himself. Because he is so busy trying to confess, he kind of forgets this. 2, he's so worried he's troubling her, he doesn't realize that he's not paying attention to what's actually troubling her. Then, what happens? He gets signal 1. Oh. Okay, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? And then, in Hawaiians, through sheer dumb luck, in a funny way, right? Through sheer dumb luck, he finds out. Kazuya got lucky. If I can find it, where is it? Talks to Nagomi. Oh, oops. Wrong one. 202. 203. 201? Okay, it was 201. Right? Kazuya, through sheer dumb luck, ends up finding out. Going through grief. Grandma Sayuri died last year. What the fuck are you talking about? It's literally been like It's been 5 months. It's been 5 months in canon, and I'm talking about this point, and in this point, Sayuri's been dead for 2 fucking weeks. At this point in the story, which is what I'm referring to, Sayuri's been dead for 2 weeks. And Chizuru has had no one to help her process except for Kazuya at one point. And you see on her birthday, she still hasn't fully processed grief. In fact, there are people who go through grief for years struggling to process. So, no, that's stupid. Just because something happened a year ago doesn't mean you're over it. Grief doesn't just poof and disappear. Heck, you want proof? You want proof of that? Chizuru's crying over her grandpa here. Her grandpa died 4 years ago. Her grandpa died 4 years ago. And she's also crying over him here. It's almost like grief isn't something that just disappears and goes away. And it's not over just because Chizuru cried about it here. And the entire arc in Hawaiians deals with grief. Nagomi's whole entire character in that story is literally her trying to process life because her friend is dead. And she's trying to be more appreciative of the people around her because her friend is fucking dead. And literally her and Chizuru's relationship in that entire arc is literally centered around Sayuri and that grief. It's almost like that makes no fucking sense, dude. Last year. Literally, last living family member is fucking dead. So, Kazuya finds out by sheer dumb luck. He gets lucky. And Chizuru takes the chance to actually ask him, now that he knows. And he gets to clear it up. So he knows it bothered Chizuru. Now, Chizuru acts a little tough a little after, sure. Right? But he knew, oh, that might have been the issue. Why does Chizuru act like this a little bit after? It's quite simple. She's not gonna just tell him you can confess to me. Because she doesn't want to create some sort of weird boundary. She's letting him confess before she breaks any barriers. This is in my opinion where Chizuru kind of fucked up a little bit. Chizuru should have just broken the barrier, but she's afraid to. And that's very simple why. Chizuru is still going through grief. She's not comfortable fully opening up yet. So she's doing it her own way, and Kazuya doesn't realize this. Then, what happens right after Hawaiians ends? Chizuru just kissed Kazuya. Kazuya figured out something happened because of Ruka. And he realized the reason Chizuru was keeping her distance was because of Ruka. And he knew Ruka was doing shit. Right after the trip, Kazuya has a flashback. On the train station, they're walking. Chizuru seems distant. Then Ruka shows up and pushes her away and yells at her and accosts her. And she leaves. Then when he tries to talk to her, she doesn't talk to him again. In a very similar way. And then when he finds out about it, she felt guilty over Ruka. It's the same problem. Kazuya saw clear signs that the girl he's with is causing her trouble, and he tries to take responsibility for it instead of setting clear boundaries with Ruka. That it's Ruka's fucking fault. That Chizuru doesn't need to feel this way. That she can open up to him. That she can talk to him. He never does this. What's going on here? What's going on here? Chizuru is seeing this happening again, Except this time, instead of Ruka pushing Chizuru away, it's Minnie trying to pull Chizuru in. And Chizuru refuses to budge. Chizuru is probably like, rein her in. This is not my fucking responsibility. This is on you. Right? Ruka, kind of my fault. I pushed Ruka into it. I'm the one who kissed you. I'm the one who's seemingly taking you away from Ruka. Kind of my fault, right? I felt guilty over that. Not completely your fault, but you should have known, right? Chizuru doesn't say he should have known, but Kazuya should have known, right? But he blames himself for everything, never realizing it's not him, right? Now, it's clearly like, okay, it's not Kazuya's fault. Now clearly fucking is, actually. Who am I kidding? Right? Chizuru doesn't hate him, right? So let's change that. Let's change it a little bit. Chizuru clearly doesn't hate him. Kazuya got kissed by Chizuru. He's not moving. And his little wannabe disciple goes up and yells at her and demands she move. What the fuck? Shouldn't Kazuya rein Minnie in? Why is Minnie going and yelling at Chizuru? Why is Kazuya not talking to her? Right? There's no Ruka. There's no anything. None of that stuff is even here. Why the fuck isn't he doing anything? It's almost like, yeah, part of the 3 months was Chizuru's fault. The other part was clearly his fucking fault. Right? Kazuya is not paying attention to what Chizuru is feeling. He's not seeing her. Even though she keeps showing herself constantly. You see, here, I can show you another example of it. Chizuru talks about her mom. Right up until now, she looked like she didn't particularly care, but right up until now, she looked like she didn't particularly care, but she did, even about her mom. Well, that makes sense too. Even if it's Mizuhara, there's no way it doesn't get to her at least a little bit. He's starting to remember Chizuru's a human being. Chizuru's a fucking human being. Holy shit, she's a human being. You saw in the cheer update, she's a human being. She's a normal fucking girl. You saw afterwards that she's a normal person. It's natural. It's your mom after all. Look at them. They're fucking flirting. Kazuya, after talking to Minnie at the bar, and Minnie tells him some shit, he tells Chizuru, doesn't it make you sad or something that we're separated? He literally saw right here. She was acting normal, but it actually does get to her. And here he is acting like it doesn't get to her, even though he just saw it did. What the fuck, dude? That's why Chizuru looks like she does here. She literally feels unseen. What the fuck, dude? She opened up to you, she showed you herself, and you're acting like you don't see her. You're acting like she wouldn't feel sad about this when she clearly fucking would. What does Chizuru do? Drinks? Yeah, it does get to me. So what? Completely valid. Fuck you. I showed you how I felt. What the fuck, dude? I showed you earlier how I felt. And you're acting like I don't feel anything, like I'm some sort of fucking robot. Same thing in first pages of 385. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Chizuru is like, remember me. Chizuru in that time is literally like, remember me. Here, you want a good example? You want a good example of Chizuru literally telling him to remember her? When they first move in together, she gives him this. Consider the fish a small gift. Don't lose it. It's not that I don't trust. What is this? He asks her, is it really okay? I had a lot to say, but it's not like I don't trust you. I'm not putting this curtain up because I don't trust you. I'm giving you a key to my goddamn house, and I added this little keychain as a gift. When Kazuya is on the date with Ruka, Ruka sees the fish keychain, and look at what she tells him. It's something that you'll always carry with you. I want you to use it. Something I bought for you. Kazuya runs into Chizuru. She's acting normal. But maybe she's not actually normal. And she wants him to see that. What is the one thing she does? He gives her back the keychain. He's acting all normal. Right? Stupid fucking Kazuya. Acting all normal. Takes off the keychain. Hands it to him. He says, really? Are you sure? Does that sound familiar? Is this really okay? No shit. I get it. You don't need it after all. More or less. Yeah. She doesn't deny what he thinks. But she's telling him, remember. And what does Kazuya do? He keeps thinking to himself, after all, nobody can say for sure how seriously Mizuhara is thinking about this. Still, she seemed troubled. She asked these serious questions of Joe Polis and put up with the blister. That's proof that she's really thinking about the two of us. Besides, after everything, all I can remember is the smile on your face. Remember. Remember. As he starts leaving, he starts remembering. He starts remembering everything as he starts leaving. She's acting normal, but she's daring him to remember. She's intentionally putting this face on. She's daring him to remember. What does he remember? Right before, he remembers her smile. He remembers her. She feels seen here. What happened? She feels seen. He remembered her. He remembered who she is. She felt seen and understood. That's why she kissed him. He remembered who she is. He kept his promise because he remembered who she is, not what happened. That's why she kissed him. She felt accepted in this moment. She felt seen and accepted despite what he was just seeing in front of him. Is all you see in front of you just this cold woman? Is that all you saw in that moment, just a cold woman? Or do you actually see me? And he showed he saw her. In 289, when Umi says, that's how much you mean to me, Chizuru-chan, notice how his eyes are closed. He doesn't see her. She doesn't feel seen. She doesn't feel understood. He says these words, but they don't connect to her. They don't mean anything to her. She doesn't feel seen. Kazuya sees her, and right now he's not seeing shit. That's what that whole sequence was about. Remember me. Stop forgetting, remember. And right now, Kazuya sure is forgetting who the fuck Chizuru is. The readers sure as fuck are forgetting who Chizuru is. Minnie sure as hell doesn't know who the fuck Chizuru is. We don't know anything about Chizuru. Who the hell is Chizuru? Right? Doesn't she seem like a total mystery? What the fuck? Who is Chizuru? She seems like a terrible woman. What a terrible person. And right now, she's daring us to remember. Literally. It's a challenge to remember who Chizuru is. Because people sure as hell have forgotten who the fuck she is. And that whole time, the 3 months, that has been the center of all of this. Because to this moment, people still don't know who Chizuru is. Ever since the 3 months, they forgot. And they continue to forget. Willfully so. Just as Kazuya has. Kazuya in the 3 months ran away from Chizuru not because of anything she particularly did. He ran away because he doesn't remember her, he remembers mommy. He doesn't remember the person who's been kind to him, who's been stuck with him throughout everything, who has never fucking hated anyone. Chizuru doesn't hate anyone. Kazuya did some terrible fucking shit to Chizuru at the start of the series, and she doesn't hate him. Why the fuck does he think she would hate him? This is all coming back to the 3 months because in the 3 months, he's convinced she hates him. He wants to run away from pain. He doesn't want to face pain. He's convinced she hates him, not because she's going through grief, or she's lonely, or she's alone, or she feels like she's doing something wrong, but that she hates him. That's what this is all coming back to. And that's why I think this is all going to end up being some big divisive thing. Because that's what's actually going on. Kazuya is being a little weenie bitch. He's running away. And I say this knowing Kazuya is not a little weenie bitch. He convinced himself he is. Kazuya is my favorite character because he's actually really strong. He's actually really tough. He goes through a lot of crap, but he comes out tough on the other side. Now he's convinced himself he's weak. He has convinced himself of everything everyone wants to label him as. Weak, pathetic, loser, cuck, all that stuff. He's convinced himself of these things. But he's not these things. And he needs to realize he's doing this to himself. When does it become your responsibility? When is it your fucking fault this is happening? When are you doing this to yourself? And it's not actually Chizuru. Right? Chizuru appears wishy-washy. She's not. She has shown constantly she's not wishy-washy. It's on Kazuya. This is 100% on Kazuya and on Minnie, not on Chizuru. She has been very responsible and very straightforward. She always has been. She's always been like this. And now she's confident in herself. She's not doubting herself anymore. That talk that she had with her manager probably reminded her of this. That talk she had with her manager probably reminded her of this. That this is not her fault. She should not be moving. Can I know, is this true on the Reddit comment where you said we'll make something about the future chapter that will cause many readers will stop reading the manga? If another fucking person asks me this, I will ban you immediately. Reddit took my words and ran with it like fucking idiots. I'm never giving you guys another goddamn inch. No, I'm not saying anything about that. Unbelievable. Right? She literally puts that shit in private and everybody wants to go and just fucking talk about it. Unreal. So dumb. I'm not talking about future chapters. Unbelievable. It was Yuki. So there are two girls named Yuki in this story. There's a little, I think there's one like called Yuka or something, but Yuki is Chizuru's friend. She's the girl with glasses. Chizuru's friend. Anyways, that's why you see Chizuru in 390 making plans with her friends. That's why you see Chizuru with her friends in this chapter making plans. Right? They talk about going to the beach again. They talk about going snowboarding. She's already making plans. Which means what she told Minnie's a fucking lie. I genuinely think this is a fucking lie. It's bait. It's literally bait. It's a fucking lie. The truth here is Chizuru's convictions. The truth of this sequence is Chizuru's conviction. This is Chizuru with true conviction here. But the scene is a fucking lie. She lied to Minnie. Because Minnie doesn't deserve the truth. Hell no. If Minnie had talked to her like a normal person and actually engaged with her and wondered why Chizuru was doing what she's doing, okay. But no, Minnie didn't. Minnie doesn't get the fucking truth. Despite everything, Chizuru does not allow herself to be paralyzed. Yeah. That call I think that call is not what we think it is. It reminded her of who she is and why she does what she does. It reminded her of the real Kazuya. It reminded her of what she wanted. It reminded her to stick to her path, to stick to her guns. Because she's right. She shouldn't doubt herself. In the 3 months, she doubted herself. Right? She doubted her choice. She thought she was doing something wrong. She needed some help. She needed someone to help her tell her she can just believe in herself a little bit. Minnie kind of did that at the time. Right? Minnie helped. Now Minnie's making everything worse. And Chizuru sees it. And she's not playing this game. Chizuru believes in herself here. It's not like the 3-month time skip. She knows what she's doing. She completely trusts her choices. And I genuinely think the kiss is an expression of all of Chizuru's feelings. It's not just simply, I love you. Chizuru's saying a lot. Chizuru's like, thank you for remembering me. This is the real me. Thank you for seeing me. Right? That's another part of it. This is another part of it is that this is what I want. This is another part of it is maybe I love you. Another part of it is like, I want this, I want that. It's literally what Kazuya said in chapter 165. Love is not enough. I adore her. In the second episode of season 4, Chizuru asks Kazuya, do you love me? What do you think would happen if he had said yes? He does. Probably there would be a bit of a pause from Chizuru. That's an interesting one, actually. I don't think she would be against it. But she would have some questions, and she would want to know. Like, how long, blah, blah, blah. But I think the whole point was that he couldn't. And that she was doubting herself. The whole point of that sequence was meant to show you was that Chizuru was doubting herself even then. And that she continued to doubt herself. Just for curiosity's sake. I really don't know. I think it might have worked, but I think maybe it might have not either. I don't know. I think because Chizuru wasn't fully ready. I think it was clear Chizuru wasn't ready, and she might have needed a little more time. That's why the scene plays out as it does. She wasn't really ready. I just ask, is it true or not? Well, because the reader stopped read and not want. I will say only one thing about this. I will only give you an inch. If you take a fucking mile with this, you guys are going to get wrecked. I will ban you immediately. I will never go to Reddit again. Understand? Reiji saying readers are going to stop reading is literally him dooming. That's the context of that. He was just dooming. He's like, I know this will be fine, but as someone who's writing it, I'm a little worried. That's it. Yeah. You're fucking idiots. You're taking shit out of context. His editors literally told him it's fine. In fact, just to give you a little shit, this is so minor, he was willing to tell people what it is if they guessed it. But it's also so different that it may piss people off. And I'm pretty sure I guessed it. I'm pretty sure it's literally Minnie and Kazuya being absolute shitheads this entire time. And it wasn't Chizuru. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But everybody's stupid and they're thinking, "Oh my god, it has to be like sex or something related to that. It has to be a kiss in the fucking play that we don't even have confirmation if it's fucking real." You heard from the play from secondhand. Chizuru is telling you don't hear the actual conversation. You don't even know if this play's real. You literally don't know if this play's real. She could straight up... You have seen Chizuru lie to Minnie consistently. Why the fuck do you think she would tell her the truth? Why in fucking hell do you think she would tell her the truth? Why do you think Chizuru, who deeply values intimacy, would be okay having a kiss scene with Umi in a play, who just confessed his love to her, and she knows it would bother Kazuya? It's almost like Reddit is full of fucking jackasses. Unreal. Literally, take my words and just run with it. Whatever. Go get the fuck out of here. Bunch of stupid idiots, dude. If you're so curious, go read the actual transcript. If you're so fucking curious, go read the actual transcript. Get the actual context. Don't just let people on Reddit just spew fucking rumors. I saw some stupid idiot on Reddit literally talking about, Reiji said this on there. I literally talked to 3 different Japanese fans who follow him and have followed every single one of those things, and they said he did not say this shit. So why the fuck are stupid people using baseless rumors to justify their stances against Rent-A-Girlfriend? Stupid idiots. Of course I'm mad. They literally forced my hand. If I had kept quiet, they would have continued to spread rumors. Luckily for them, I didn't actually give them everything I knew. You're not getting any more out of me. That's it. I just squashed that stupid fucking rumor. Unreal. So Ruka and Mami not getting the spotlight and already move on. No. That's something to be addressed. That is still something to be addressed. It's just not going to happen. Like, you really think Ruka would just move on? Just like that? Ruka, of all characters. She's reached a point where she could, but Kazuya has to take action in that. Chizuru also probably wants to talk to Ruka. Mami, on the other hand, is a much deeper character who probably has a lot more going on. Umi is probably not at all what you think he is. Umi's probably not at all what you think he is. And that's the point. He's meant to look scary. But it's literally not what he looks... He's not what he appears. Unbelievable. Fucking hate that I had to talk about that. That makes me so mad. She had to start investigating her own feelings to see whether they could really be called love. Kept asking herself what love actually was during those 2 months, and rejected Kazuya because she still hadn't found a clear way to describe those feelings. And I didn't want to string him along any longer. How much can you really trust her words when she says she doesn't love him enough? Wait, what? What's this in response to? Oh, this dumb person. Yeah, this fucking weirdo. Like, I think T John, yeah, you shouldn't have responded to that person, dude. They clearly don't read the manga. I literally just showed them evidence that they clearly don't read the fucking manga, dude. You shouldn't have bothered. Like, I just, it's good to not like over explain to these people, because like they'll just take your kindness or your attempt to actually be reasonable and then just spin it into something else. So don't do that, you know? But yeah, I'm gonna write just one thing really quick. I'm more certain than ever that the current events in the manga are on Kazuya and Minnie. And Chizuru is completely in the right. Yep, I said it. What is this? I'm more certain now than ever that the current events in the manga are on Kazuya and Minnie, and Chizuru is completely alright. Yep, I said it. I dare you to remember who Chizuru is and not who you think she is. It's funny because when I initially wrote my wow, I hate that I was right from the start. Wow. Dude, I was right from the start? Fucking hell. You guys probably don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I wrote something for 385, and it's literally Chizuru. It's literally a reference to Finding Nemo, and it's actually about Kazuya trusting Chizuru and remembering her and remembering who she is. It's the other way around. Wow. And I remembered the scene, dude. It reminded me of the scene from Finding Nemo where Marlin thinks Nemo is dead and Dory is with him and she doesn't want him to leave because she doesn't want to forget. And she literally tells him, "Please don't leave. I don't want to forget. You help me remember." And he says, "Well, I don't want to remember," and he leaves. And then Nemo shows up and he helps her remember, and she goes back to Marlin with Nemo. And then Marlin has to like have faith in Nemo that Nemo knows what he's doing and he can save Dory. And then they all work together to do it. Oh, dude. I can't believe I was right the whole time. I cannot believe I was right the whole fucking time. This is why you shouldn't listen to Redditors. Motherfuckers will make you doubt yourself. Motherfuckers will make you doubt yourself when you're right the whole time. How much you missed? So I did a huge dissection of everything, and TLDR Chizuru is completely in the right, and Minnie and Kazuya are complete idiots, and they're forgetting who Chizuru is. And Chizuru lied to Minnie here for certain. Not certain. Like okay, I'm gonna say 80% sure Chizuru lied to Minnie here. And this is actually all gonna lead to it blowing up in Kazuya and Minnie's face, and that they've actually been the idiots the entire time. So the status quo since before, not quite. I actually like broke it down and showed like real concrete evidence that Kazuya and Minnie have seemingly caused this entire scenario, and that this is an intentional callback to the 3-month time skip, and it's showing how before in the 3-month time skip it was part Chizuru, part Kazuya. Here it's completely Kazuya. It is 2000% on him, and Chizuru has actually been very clear. When I was writing on Twitter before, like I thought On Twitter or the VODs. On Twitter, I wrote that I thought, oh, Chizuru's being stubborn. She should just talk to him. In reality, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think that Chizuru, like my current stance is that I think Chizuru is completely in the right, because if Chizuru gives him in any way a pass, it excuses his behavior, and that behavior is no longer acceptable. And Chizuru is completely right, and she's sticking to her guns, and she's doing the right thing. If he wants to talk to her, he has to come talk to her. If he wants a relationship with her, he has to come talk to her. He has to start a relationship with her. He has to see her and remember her. The whole point of chapter 384 and 385 is to remember Chizuru. I think that's the truth of it. I think that is the truth of chapter 385. Chizuru wants him to remember her. Remember who she is. And if he remembers, if he truly sees her, she was ready to start a relationship with him. And that's why she kissed him. She let herself be passive. She challenged, she only ever did stuff so he would remember her. And if he truly saw her, in contrast to how he didn't see her in the date, she would kiss him. And she felt seen. And that's why she did. It's because in the date he didn't see her. In the date he wasn't really like seeing Chizuru. He was seeing someone else. But Chizuru was there the whole time. And he did remember. Remembering is at the center of this. Remember who she is. Stop seeing other people. In the 3-month time skip, he doesn't remember her. He sees someone else. Kazuya doesn't see Chizuru. He sees a shadow. He literally doesn't see her. He puts her in a shadow. She doesn't feel seen. She doesn't feel his love. Therefore, her love is not good enough. That's what was happening. That's why she felt like she was a burden to him. This is what happens when you constantly think yourself you're a burden to someone, or they hate you, or you're causing them trouble. They start to think, yeah, I am trouble. Yeah, I must be doing something wrong. And that's where Chizuru is not wrong. She's not doing anything wrong. It's on him. And he has to stop acting like this if he wants a relationship with her. He has to stop making her feel like she's doing something wrong. That's why the rejection happened. She felt like she was doing something wrong. She wasn't. She was perfectly fine as she was. She accepted her feelings as they were. Doesn't that also tie to him needing to remember himself? Yes, very much so. When he forgets Chizuru, he forgets who he is. The moment he remembers her, he remembers who he is. Case in point, how did he ask her out? I'm in the darkness. Oh my God. Oh wow. Oh wow. I just saw what I actually look like. I love it. I look so edgy. He didn't simply man up and ask her out. That wasn't it. That wasn't simply it. He didn't man up and ask her out. No, no, no. He remembered who he was. Listen to his words carefully. Man, I'm so pathetic. Good night. Since when did your beauty start making me feel strong instead of nervous? What are you doing? Do you still need something? I lied just now. Forget all of it. I want to ask you out on a date, not a rental date. He didn't just become a different person. He remembered who he was. He remembered the man he is. He literally remembered the man he is. Shit. He literally remembered who he is. He didn't just become a different person. That's the real Kazuya. He literally remembered who he was. That's why when Minnie asked Chizuru, is it because he asked you out like a man? It's not because he asked her out like a man. It's because he was the real person. She remembered who he is. And now she wants him to remember who she is. Chizuru, in the walk home, I think Chizuru remembered who he is. Chizuru remembered who she fell in love with. She finally found him. The entire cohabitation is literally Chizuru trying to find Kazuya. She's trying to find her love for him. She's trying to find out where that came from, what it was. And she realized in the walk home, that's who she loved. She loved the real him, the one from the very start of the series. It wasn't just the movie arc Kazuya. She loved all of Kazuya. Kazuya from the start was like this. The thing people don't realize is movie arc Kazuya isn't a different Kazuya. It's literally just the final form. It's literally him like reaching his pinnacle. Well, okay. A part of his pinnacle, right? Like the pinnacle of that character arc, right? Movie arc Kazuya is when Kazuya like reaches the final form of or a final form of the very beginning Kazuya, who was always there. And she saw that from the start. And that's what Chizuru was trying to find. That's what Chizuru was trying to find the entire time. You had a Vegeta effect going on. Yeah. That's what Chizuru was trying to find. And that's who she found in the walk home. That's who she saw in the walk home. And she wanted to see that again. And if he remembered her and he saw her again, if he remembered her as she remembered him, if she saw that Kazuya again, she knew he was the one. And in that moment, she felt like marrying him. He was the only one who made her feel that way. That's why she remembered her grandpa. That's why that all happened. She remembered who she loved. It's because she always loved him. Chizuru liked him from the very start. It wasn't like love at first sight, maybe, but she liked him from the start. And she even said, I never regretted meeting you. Not once. So so do you see how like the current Kazuya isn't the real him? And she remembered who he is. She remembered who he is, and now he needs to remember who she is, and so doing, remember who he is and who she loves. She even read a stupid book about fishes for him. Well, like, at that time, they weren't, like, really in love, right? She saw the real him at the hospital, and she started to learn more about him early on, but, like, you know, that wasn't, the relationship wasn't just going to magically work. She did that for work. She did that for work, mostly. But even at the very start, she didn't hate their dates. At the very start of the series, she didn't hate that. She never hated that. She actually never says, like, the anime adds an extra line that kind of pisses me off. They add an extra line where she says, I never want to date like this again. Chizuru never says this in the manga, and I don't think it's something that's, like, I don't know if it's, like, a line that was added for some reason. But Chizuru never says that. She never regretted the date. She never regretted meeting him even in chapter 1. That never happened. Even at his lowest, she didn't hate him. She actually thought Kazuya was cool because he could fucking dream and believe. She liked him from the start. She just started downing these feelings, and Kazuya didn't reinforce who he was to her so she could remember. And that's the irony. That's why Chizuru is that's why Chizuru was trying to find her feelings. That's why Chizuru was confused about her feelings from the start. That's why Chizuru started to get confused about her feelings when Minnie started getting involved. Because Minnie kept introducing this idea that, like, a part of it was kind of how Kazuya was acting, right? A part of it was kind of how Kazuya was acting, where she would, for example, here's an interesting one. This one I thought was interesting. I didn't notice it before. when Kazuya says this, I hope that one day I'll be able to see it for myself. So what I'm saying is, I want to stay by your side, just be with you always. Can I? Would you let me? Right? She's a little confused about this. She says, always, right? Stupid. If you want to stay by my side, then I can't turn you down, can I? I mean, I'm your girlfriend after all. Kazuya never clears this boundary up. Right? He's seemingly confessing to her, but when she says this, he never clears the boundary up. But Chizuru tries to get more comfortable and open up about the boundaries. Tries to let him in a little bit. Right? Yeah, Kazuya never broke the boundaries, and that's the repeating thing. And that's why in Hawaiians, she doesn't break the boundaries, but she's trying to let him do it. She's trying to let him break the boundaries comfortably on his own. She doesn't want to do it, and the reason Chizuru does that the reason Chisuru does that is for a few reasons. One, she wants it to be his choice, and two, he's the customer. She's the rental. He should do it. In contrast, after that, in the 3-month time skip, Chizuru breaks the boundary down herself, and she's like, "Okay, fine, I'll do it myself." But now Kazuya has to be the one to break the boundary because she already moved and she already broke her boundary about rental, and that's all gone now. It's his turn. He has to. Kazuya should have seen the scene from The Lion King. Remember who you are. Yeah, I fucking love that scene. Remember who you are. I don't know who I am. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it all makes sense, right? It all makes sense when you think about it and you sit down. It all clicks together. It's literally about remembering. You have to remember, right? Remember who you were at the start. Remember who Chizuru is. Remember what you did and who you are. Remember that the current you isn't the real you. Maybe Kazuya's dad can help. No, no one can help him remember but maybe Chizuru and himself. They don't know that Kazuya is seemingly acting different. Nagomi even reinforces to Kazuya to be. You're also misspelling Kazuya. Nagomi even reinforces to Kazuya to be who Chizuru wants him to be. That's something that I found really interesting. Just before the date starts, in chapter 351, or chapter, yeah, I think it's 351. Look at what Nagomi tells him. Kazuya is trimming his eyebrows, and Nagomi smacks him, and she's like, "Are you doing that again? I thought I told you before, those brows are a keepsake from your grandpa. How are eyebrows supposed to be a keepsake? That's what it means to be family. Be proud of who you are. You shouldn't care about your appearance so much. You understand that it's what on the inside that counts? Why can't I make the outside look good too? I've been told that more times than I can count ever since I was little, even when I was first enrolled in college. Look at these eyebrows. You're just a student. What are you dressing up for? Hey, wow, why not? But it's not like I can do this at Mizuhara's place, right? Anyway, how's that one thing going? What thing? You promised to go see Chizuru-san's play. Set it up already. Now that I know that our princess is an actress, I feel it is my duty to see through an oath with Sayuri-san. I feel it's been ages since I've heard about this. I swear I'll take you. You say that, but are you actually doing anything? He goes back to trimming his eyebrows. Does Chizuru-san prefer you like that? Well, I guess she'd prefer them thin rather than bushy. Not that I'd know. Do you know? Have you asked her if she cares? Have you asked her if she even cares? Fine then. Pluck them. Fine then. Change yourself. Be someone else. Isn't that interesting? Fine. You want to be someone else? Be someone else. Fine. Is that what she wants? Fine. She's not happy about this. She doesn't like it. But she says, fine. If that's what Chizuru wants, fine. But that's not what Chizuru wants. Right? This is Nagomi trusting Chizuru, not Kazuya. This isn't what Chizuru wants. Maybe it's Nagomi trusting Kazuya, right? She took him at his word, right? Maybe this is what Chizuru wants. That scene was already telling you from the start. This is Kazuya making choices, not because Chizuru told him anything or anyone told him anything, right? He's just doing it because he's assuming. So much of this is about assumptions instead of actually remembering and seeing what the people are saying. We're just assuming what other people are thinking and saying. So yeah, that's what this is all about. It's clear. It's about remembering instead of doing this shit. And it's ironic that Minnie does what she does out of memory, right? Out of what she thinks is going on based on the memory she had with Kazuya, but also based on fictitious memories she created. Minnie acts like she saw these things for real. Minnie never saw this. So why is she acting like this is her own memory? Notice how she's presenting it like it's her own memory. Like she actually experienced this. When she didn't. Notice how she flashbacks to this. Like it's her own memory. Contrasted by real memories she did actually have. She then says it's cute that she thinks that she was embarrassed, but why did she think she could hide it? She did, though. The better question is not why did she think she could hide it? Why was she hiding it? You think you know why she was hiding it. You don't know. Does Minnie ever ask her, why did you hide it from me? She doesn't. She looks back at the memories that she had, and she's certain that they all conclude to this. She doesn't see what Chizuru is currently doing and how that doesn't align with the memories. She doesn't see how Chizuru's acting doesn't align with what she's saying, because Chizuru seems completely normal. Chizuru confronts her, and these memories are interesting because they seem like Chizuru's memories. Or are they even Chizuru's or Minnie's? Right? You don't know. I have faith as well. You see Sumi, who has faith. She talks about a cruel woman. You see Mami. You see Kazuya and his faith seemingly doing nothing. Some faith he has. Like see how it's being presented like he's working hard? Kazuya is working hard cleaning the dishes. And then Ruka is sitting right next to him. She's going to take him away. And Minnie screams at Chizuru, I don't know what kind of guy you like. And her eyes are closed, and Chizuru doesn't feel seen. Does this seem familiar? Does this seem familiar? Chizuru is in shadows. She's not seen. She's literally shadowed out. She puts herself in the center of the light. She illuminates herself. Chizuru literally intentionally illuminates herself. So Minnie can focus on her. But when she speaks, she's still in shadows. And yet again, she stays in shadows, despite speaking the truth with the light now behind her. Chizuru has now fully embraced the shadows. She's not letting them define her, she's defining it herself. Whereas before, she felt unseen and let that decide for her who she is. Before, she felt unseen, literally in shadows, and she let that define her. She let the shadows define her before. Right? They took control of her. Here, she's in control of the shadows. You don't get to make me invisible. You don't get to decide that for me. And this is a callback to the very beginning of the series, where Kazuya it literally didn't see Chizuru as a person. Because he thought of her as like a person who's acting. He forgot she's not, like, literally the opening scene of this series is a criticism of waifus and how waifus seemingly just do what you want them to do. They never argue with you, never fight with you. They're always just making you happy. But Chizuru is not just a waifu, she's a real person. And so when Kazuya accosts her, she naturally gets mad at him. And she's like, where do you get off yelling at me like that? I'm a person too. You can't just say that stuff to me. I'm a person too. This is the same thing. This is Chizuru saying, yes, I'm a person too. You can't just treat me like this. And she's taking hold of the fact that she's unseen. Fine. Don't see me. See the lies you wish to see. Be in the very shadows you put me in. And she drags Minnie into the shadows too. Chizuru is no longer content with being invisible. I'm not going to be invisible like this anymore. I'm going to be seen. I'm not going to be invisible. Right? Notice how even now, invisible, in the shadows constantly. The one time she's illuminated, when we see the blister, this is her truth. The shadows here are the truth of Chizuru's conviction, and she drags Minnie into the shadows too because Minnie willfully put her there. Chizuru is in the shadows here, Minnie put her there. Minnie dragged her into this room. She forced her to return to the shadows, right? She forced her to be like this. So she's like, you know what? I'm taking charge of this. She illuminates herself. She centers the stage on her. She stays in the shadows, but she controls them. You can't control her. You don't tell me who I am. I know who I am. What was Minnie saying to her earlier? I don't know what kind of guy you like, but I don't think you'll ever find someone who loves you as much as he does. Yeah, I know. You said this before. You've said this to me many times before, Minnie. In fact, you said this in the movie arc. I know because I'm the one who originally said this line. Right? What am I putting Master through right now? Huh? Minnie, I don't even care that you hid it from me, but you don't have any idea what you're putting Master through right now. What did you put him through? Huh? She kissed him. What the fuck did she put him through? She said sorry. She apologized. He kept believing in her. He kept wanting her love. She gave him love. What the fuck what's he putting him through? What the fuck did Chizuru do wrong? She didn't do anything wrong. Chizuru didn't do anything wrong. She fucking kissed him, dude. She literally said, I'm ready to date you. And now she's doing something wrong? So no, you don't get to dictate who I am. I do. Chizuru took control back. I dictate who I am, and you don't get answers from me. Notice how this is fucking awesome. I just realized this. Notice how Chizuru doesn't answer any of Minnie's questions. Even the very last question she asks her, she never answers. Any question Minnie asked, Chizuru did not answer. You're not getting answers from me. My life, my choices. Fuck off. You don't get answers anymore. Chizuru's done explaining to Minnie. Chizuru's done giving her anything. Fuck off. He wants to talk to me, he can come talk to me. I laid the bait. He wants to take it, he'll come and take it. I'm done. I just want to know what's going on inside Chizuru's head. I just feel like I just explained it to you. I could be wrong, but hear me out. Kazuya has had his Hakuna Matata while living with Chizuru and has gotten as content with his efforts. Now he needs to remember who you are moment to take action. That's actually literally it. That's literally it. Like straight up. It's funny because I have a Lion King mug right here. That's actually straight up it. You're not even remotely wrong. That's straight up it. Do you think that Kazuya's birthday will finally find himself? Will he finally become independent enough to love himself more? He'll probably, maybe. I think he's gonna take his first steps before his birthday, but his birthday will be big in relevance to that. Yes, his birthday will definitely be relevant to that. Once Kazuya, why do you keep spelling Kazuya like that? It's Kazuya, like so. Why are you spelling it like that? You've done it like 5 times. 3 times. 3 times. But yeah. I think Chizuru, autocorrect, well, unautocorrect. I think Chizuru is gonna cook the shit out of them, and it will be divisive because people are mad at Chizuru right now, but she was fucking right the whole time. Yeah, that's my stance. That is what I believe is going on. What time is it? Oh shit, it's almost 8 o'clock. Okay, you guys got 10 more minutes with me. Let me do the outro really quick. I'm gonna do the outro. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, keep up with the uploads, all that fun stuff. Consider supporting me on Patreon. I would really appreciate it. It would also help me be able to create some new stuff for Patreon in the future. Consider also joining the Discord because in the Discord, you could talk to me. I had more to say about that, but I lost my train of thought. Finally, also consider supporting me on Twitter, where I post a bunch of threads and talk about this stuff. I sort out my thoughts because, what the fuck not. And then, if you guys are interested in actually following these are streams. So this is me cutting up a stream. If you want to follow these streams, consider you can check them out on. You can check out the streams on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. On Tuesday, I start at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time when the chapter comes out, and on Wednesdays, I tend to start around like 10 to 12 Pacific Standard Time. So with that said, and then of course, and sometimes I have unscripted streams where this one I did on a Friday. Anywho, just click the bell icon. You'll know that way. Cool. With that said, I've been Faye, and remember, let's mosey. Okay, that's done. Can we talk about why people are mad at Chizuru? It's time for some uncomfortable conversations. I mean, a part of it is grifting. A part of it is hatred towards women, because let's be real, Reddit is mostly men. It's a very men-centric place. So even if there are women there, right? It's a very male-centric place. So naturally, there's a lot of misogyny on Reddit. Twitter isn't necessarily so different. Twitter has a lot of really stupid people who get upset, and just to show you proof, literally just go to remember when we watched Sydney's video? Even though Sydney's video is full of misinformation, she could tell like Chizuru's in the right, and like if she doesn't want to date him, that's fine, and she's not a bad person. But then the third part, in my opinion, is that I think Reiji is intentionally playing into this hatred and this bias. He knows how these people think. He knows how people think. This was on his Twitter space, but he talked about this in chapter 380. He predicted the reaction to chapter 380. What he did not predict was how large it was. And this is because he didn't know that there would be so many people getting riled up in the background, because you had people like Chibi Reviews who was inciting stuff saying the series is ending soon. You had people who were already on this series' case, especially in Twitter's case, who were already on top of this regularly. And so Reishi predicted this reaction, but he just didn't realize how large it would be and how everybody would just kind of jump the series. The reason it got so much traction online is because hatred is fueled online. So I guess maybe he underestimated how much of a following this series has, because a lot of people hate read this series. A lot of people do read this series. They don't actually really engage with the story. They just, pick it up and keep reading. And this is something that's gonna just keep happening regardless of what we say and what we talk about. And that's just inevitable. So the truth is just like it just got completely out of proportions. And there's a lot of people who are just fundamentally misinformed. Like they'll show not just misinformed, but like misogyny too. Like some of them are misinformed, like, oh, Chizuru just doesn't like him, or they'll say stupid crap like, oh, we should kill her for that, right? Just like insane, demented shit where they drew like the dude from jujitsu like shooting Chizuru or then shooting Kazuya. I'm like, what the fuck is this insanity? You'll have people who are like, oh, he made her a movie, he did all this stuff, and she still doesn't love him. How could she not love him? And I'm like, that's not how love works. Are you stupid? It's like saying because you worked out for a girl, she'll like you. I don't give a shit about your muscles. I wanna feel loved. I wanna feel fucking seen. I wanna feel like I'm part of a goddamn relationship. And that's the issue. Is like people think Kazuya is doing enough. He's not. People were convinced Kazuya is doing enough. He's not. He wasn't trying at all. He tried when he planned for the date, but he didn't actually engage with her. Dude, you can put a lot of effort into planning for something and then still waste all of that effort by doing absolutely nothing in the date itself, which is exactly what he did. He missed every single important moment he was looking for when he was with Minnie. He never talked to Chizuru honestly. Every time he got close to, he retreated almost immediately. Literally, like you'll have a few chapters of him building to opening up to Chizuru, and then she'll ask him a tough question and he'll retreat. And then he'll tell her shit like, I don't doubt my feelings for you, instead of saying the honest thing that he had in his head, which would have actually made her feel seen and accepted and like she felt like she actually loved him. He literally had an opportunity to have sex with her and he fucking wasted it. Like it's literally people blinded by their bias towards how men are the victim. People are literally Kazuya made himself a victim. Men are blinded by their bias that they're victims of women, and to ignore from the fact that they are the abusers, that they are the ones causing victim. This isn't to say Kazuya is an abuser. That's not what I'm saying. Nor am I saying every man is an abuser. But I'm just saying a lot of people do this to deflect from this fact. Because, oh my God, look at how this terrible woman is hurting this man, who's just trying his best. But then when they'll actually look at Kazuya, they'll call him pathetic and weak, and then reinforce to Kazuya his own stance that he's a loser, right? Instead of, actually helping him out. Notice how these people aren't consistent in their beliefs. They don't really care. They just spew nonsense to justify their own stances. Much like how people will like look at a content creator, like and I've been guilty of this myself. They'll look at a content creator, what they said like 7 years ago or some shit, and then they'll have a different opinion a few years later, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, look at how they changed their opinion. What a flip floppy liar piece of shit. How fucking hypocritical." My issue personally with people's flip floppy opinion when it comes to this series. So say for instance, my issue with Gaunt, or Gigok, when he liked the series and he dislikes it now, is not that he dislikes the series. I don't give a shit if he doesn't like this series. That's perfectly fine. My issue is when he spreads misinformation. My issue is when he fuels the hatred in saying the stuff that he says, in acting the way that he does, when he fuels that very hatred in the way that he seemingly flipped his opinion, in his attitude. That's what I don't like. I don't care if he doesn't like it. Fucking who cares? Welcome to the club. There's so many people who don't fucking like this series, right? I don't give a shit. I just don't like an attitude. I feel like when you take a certain attitude towards something, when you act a certain way, you enable certain people's kind of behavior. You enable the shitty behavior when you act in certain ways. When you read a manga and then think to yourself, this is kind of good, and then you find out it's from Reiji Miyajima and you're like, oh my God, now it's officially awful. You enable that kind of behavior. You just act like this, and it's shitty. And I think there has to be an element of culpability to that. There, it's like, okay, you can not like something. I don't give a shit, but you have to be responsible in how you act and treat something, and be correct in what you're saying instead of just being a fucking asshole. Like, I don't care if Joey, for the billionth fucking time, says he doesn't like Fairy Tail and he thinks it's dumb. Okay, fine, whatever, dude. I don't care. Just don't be the guy who fuels shitty behavior, who spreads misinformation. At least correct yourself. At least make sure you're not to send hatred towards the author, because I do believe Gaunt, without meaning to, does do this. I don't think Gaunt's intention is to send hatred towards Reiji, but he does. And at the same time, he also gets people to read the manga, right? Gaunt does both. Gigok does both. He gets people to read this manga because he never fucking shuts up about it. Like a goddamn tsundere he is. Like the true goddamn tsundere he is. Real fucking clown, man. On the same way, I do think a lot of the hatred that is sent through the series is fueled in part by him, whether he realizes it or not. And when you see content creators like Mother's Basement acting and treating the series in such a way, literally his entire video is full of misinformation. He's literally misinterpreting the text in the worst way possible, like intentionally so. That, or he just straight up makes shit up. Like Mother's Basement's video straight up makes shit up. I think that kind of stuff is completely unacceptable. You can change your mind about a series. You can feel completely different about something. When you act like this, that is unacceptable to me. I think you need to have some level of responsibility to that. That you have to address, you're doing this, you're being shitty. That is shitty. And you can see how you can maybe try to strike a better balance in Sydney's video. While Sydney spreads misinformation, while Sydney does act kind of shitty, she at least acknowledges the story to some degree. She acknowledges that there's clearly something between Kazuya and Chizuru, that there is something kind of wholesome there, and that Chizuru is not wrong for feeling this way. But then at the same time, she does stupid crap like saying, oh my god, haha, he fell in love with a rental girlfriend. Like, she makes those kinds of jokes. But then she's not actually, like, saying prostitution is bad, right? She's just saying he's stupid, right? She's demeaning him, but it still, demeans the character and not understands what Kazuya was feeling or what he was going through, right? It really makes Kazuya feel unseen as a character. She misrepresents him by saying he constantly stalks her when he did it once. He did it once and then immediately admitted to it, said sorry, and literally spent the entire manga atoning for that. I think that kind of stuff really shows that a lot of people online, a lot of the hatred around this series is literally just kind of fiction. It's fictional. A lot of the hatred is fictional. It is fueled by people's own idiocy, and much of it is an echo chamber. Much of it is literally people just screaming towards each other and spreading stuff. For instance, there's that account on Twitter who, let me see if I can find it. There was that account on Twitter who conveniently shared that, Rent a Girlfriend depicted AI. And, if you just go to the comments section, the only reason this person did it is they're a fucking grifter, right? Like, they just did this so they can, do the usual thing so everybody, gets upset and it becomes a big echo chamber in the comments section so they can just, get views. Like, this account and Manga Maguru literally only talk about this series just because it gives them views. That's it. They don't really talk because it cares. They get it because the hatred will sell. And that's the repeating gag. That's the repeating gag. Oh yeah, there's this new figure. I'm excited to buy it. And then, oh yeah, there's this new TikTok from Reiji. Oh, that's so cool. He had so many different ideas and concepts. That's how he ended up drawing it. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, come on. It's so cute. Adorable. Here, I'm gonna log in just so I can like it. I don't even have like a login. I'll just use my email or some shit. Continue with Google. Oh my god, the music was like blasting. This is adorable. I love seeing your process and the work. Thank you so much. This is so I fucking love this. It's so funny. Yeah. Also, lots of people escape are sheeps that either like shit because it's popular, hate things because it's hated, or hates popular shit to be different. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, oh yeah, this mommy art. Ooh, this mommy art kicks ass. I liked it a lot. Did I follow this person? I should follow them. They might not draw a bunch more in the future, but I'll follow them. Oh yeah, the new volume is out. The new volume is out. Well, not out. We finally see what it's like. And it's Chizuru laughing. This is a reference to chapter 366 when Kazuya makes Chizuru laugh, and then they make each other laugh together. And this is what that's a reference to. Fucking what's his name? Briff or something. He's like the Spanish fan who's like pretty big. He's like convinced the color here is purple or not purple. He's convinced this is blue, and that must mean that this Chizuru is Mizuhara. He's so convinced that blue must represent Mizuhara, and that red must represent Ichinose. And I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? Like, literally, Kazuya says it's purple, and literally, this is a shade of purple. This is literally a shade of purple. Like, literally, it's because of the lighting. It's a shade of purple. It's so clear. And there is a big blue motif, yes. There is a massive blue motif, yes. But Chizuru literally says, I'm going on this date as Ichinose, so why the fuck should you see this date as anything other than Ichinose? As the real Chizuru? Like, what? In fact, we haven't actually seen Mizuhara at all in this entire time. Chizuru hasn't really done her Mizuhara act at all. The last time she did it was the 3 months. Like, after they met up. That was it. She literally never did it again. Like, and for some reason, like, there's people still convinced, oh my god, no, she's being Mizuhara. I'm like, no. The fuck you on about? What the fuck? Like, what even? Yeah, and I think I said the remember thing here, but yeah, I did want to dissect Minnie, but I think Minnie, I think another way I want to look at Minnie in this time is that she acts like the kid who's trying to keep the family together. In reality, she's actually the one dividing them. She's not the kid keeping the family together. She's actually the one dividing them. And Kazuya lets her divide. Right? Like he's taking Minnie's side in a sense. So Minnie looks like the kid who's trying to keep the family together. But that's not actually the truth. The truth is Minnie is the antagonist, and she doesn't even realize it. I think that's the truth. People genuinely believe that this cover represents Reggie laughing at the fans and haters. Like he has the right, but that's not it. So he actually drew this cover 2 months ago. He posted it on Fanbox 2 months ago. Let me. I'm not gonna pull it up so you guys can't see it. I'm just gonna check the date. He posted it on July 5th. Which was around chapter 385 or 384. Yeah, just a little bit before this. A little bit after 383. Like, bro, he drew it 2 months ago. Straight up 2 months ago. like from right now. People are so stupid. People are so fucking stupid. But yeah, I think that's a better interpretation I have of Minnie. I'll post it right now. I think the truth is Minnie looks like the kid trying to keep the family together. In reality, she doesn't realize she is the antagonist that is dividing it. Because she is not a kid. And neither is Kazuya. Literally is not the villain. Yep. The antagonist that is dividing it. Who is dividing it? Okay, fair enough. And then I gotta find the thing so I can link it. Gotta make sure I put my evidence. Put my evidence. The truth. Yep, so did I save that one? I gotta make sure I save these. Good, 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 good. Yoshi P. I do love me Yoshi P. There we go. My point. The point I made before. This is in truth about remembering Chisuru. Remembering who she is and who Kazuya is. All right. And then pin to profile. Alrighty. Sorry, what I miss? I kind of think it looks like a little bit blue. I would be wrong. My color knowledge is small. No need for you to explain. I saw your Twitter post. It does look kind of like blue, but there is a let me show. Oh, what's this? Huh. No, I've seen purple like that before. Um, hues of purple. Yeah, like see lavender. See how close lavender is to that color. But there is a there's a different kind, but I know lavender is pretty close. I know there's other hues. Shades of purple. I forgot. Yeah, see how like the further you push it, the more blue it can look. Have you seen the anime popularity polls lately? Chizuru is touching the bottom. Wow. I mean, I'm not really surprised. Okay, like see this purple? This purple looks pretty darn close to what Chizuru is wearing. This one right here. Uh, I'm not really surprised, really. I mean, the unfortunate truth is a lot of anime fans really don't want to engage with this series, like in honesty anymore. They don't really want to give it a chance. Winkle purple. Oh yeah, yeah, I kind of see it. Um, I think hydrangea purple. The color is supposed to be like a hydrangea. That's how Kazuya describes it. Yeah, see that? See how the hydrangea looks here? It's like that. And like notice how it looks kind of bluish here. Yeah, see that? It literally looks like a hydrangea. That's how Kazuya describes it. He literally calls it a hydrangea. That's why. Which, by the way, I think the name the it being called a hydrangea was so interesting because when I looked up the meaning of a hydrangea, the hydrangea has a tie to Japanese culture, in particular to a prince giving I think it's like a shogun or something giving a princess a hydrangea to apologize for his negligence of her, which on surface level you can interpret it as what Chizuru is doing, that Chizuru feels like she's neglected Kazuya, so she's giving him attention. In reality, if you flip the meaning, if you think about it for a second, who's the one who's neglecting who in the actual date? It's Kazuya. Kazuya is the one who's actually neglecting Chizuru in the entire date. And the true meaning of it is that Kazuya is the one who's neglecting her. And we think it actually supposed to mean it's Chizuru neglecting him. It's actually the reverse. I think that's so cool. Maybe they think she's twisted and cruel. I don't know. I just think a huge part of it is like people don't really want to engage with the series, and it's not the series right now isn't like super gorgeous. It's not like in it's super high quality. And then right now in the manga, Chizuru has been getting a lot of flack. But when the series started, when the series first, the Shogun is more like a prime minister, whereas royal family is separate. I wasn't really talking about any of that. I was just that's what I remember reading it as. It was some sort of royal person or shogun or something, and he felt like he neglected a princess, and that's why he tried to give her, he went to give her the hydrangea to apologize and try to atone and show how he did wrong. And that is supposed to represent Chizuru, who felt like she was doing that for Kazuya. She was trying to apologize to him throughout the entire date. In reality, the actual meaning is reversed. It's actually about Kazuya himself, and Chizuru doesn't even realize it. She's just trying to express her atonement and trying to say sorry. In reality, it's actually about Kazuya, and he doesn't even realize he's the one making her feel like this because he's the one not taking care of her. He's the one who's making her feel like she's a burden when she is not. Uh, but yeah, in terms of the popularity polls, I remember when season 4 started airing, Chizuru was actually up there. Chizuru was in the top 10 when it first started airing, and then she slowly started dropping. I vividly recall that. I recall seeing her like in the top 10 when it initially started airing, and then she kind of slowly started dropping off for some reason. I think she started dropping off because of like chapter 380, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was people like constantly bombing her character because you can vote as many times as you want. You can vote as many times as you want, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a lot of people bombing her character, right? Just going after her, saying she's terrible. Because that the anime community is widely known for this. This isn't really anything new, so that makes a lot of sense, honestly. And a lot of it is definitely decided by like just how things look. People don't there's a lot of fans. Just understand, there's a lot of fans of this series. The Ruka event proved it. A lot of people went. It was very very successful. They got like 200k dollars, like $200,000 raised for that event or some shit like that. They made a fuck ton of money. So literally don't feel like oh, there aren't fans, or just because it's that low, it doesn't mean it's successful. That's not the issue. If it wasn't good, people would not be reading. They wouldn't be talking about it. That's just a fact. If it wasn't good, they wouldn't be talking about it. If there wasn't something interesting, they wouldn't be talking about it. There's a reason people keep talking about it. There's a reason a lot of haters go out of their way to shit on Reishi's work, because there is something interesting there, whether they want to admit it to themselves or not. Much like how people will, shit on Mushoku Tensei, but it is interesting and you are reading it or watching it. You're watching it. Some people read it, right? People will shit on Mushoku Tensei. I fucking hate Rudy. But I do like the story a lot, and I do think there are parts of Rudy I do like. There's a lot of it I don't like. There's a part of Rudy's I do like. But I do think Mushoku Tensei is an interesting story. It is engaging. It is unique. It has a lot going on. The exploration of his character and him becoming a better person while also still being a terrible, shitty person is interesting. Right? And that doesn't mean you're like a goddamn pedophile for liking his character. Right? I think he's a good character. I don't like him as a person very much. Right? That doesn't mean I'm into this shit. Like that kind of mentality is idiotic. Right? I can like Mommy's character, recognize she is a victim, but also an abuser. And that doesn't mean I say what she's doing is okay. Right? Personally, for me, Mommy didn't really become a villain until Hawaiians. Before then, she was just trying to break Kazuya and Chizuru up, and it's like, okay, that's really shitty. That's toxic as fuck. But I wouldn't really call her a villain. She was kind of an antagonist. She was a piece of shit, but she wasn't like outright a villain. She became a villain in Hawaiians when she like really crossed some fucking lines. Like really did some fucked up shit, got really invasive, and like actually ruined Kazuya's family dynamic. Actually, like literally traumatized him after that event. Like that's when Mommy like, oh, okay, you're just straight up a villain now. That's when Mommy is like, oh, okay, now she went too fucking far. But before then, it was just like, okay, she's just a stupid idiot. She's a terrible person. She's not outright a villain. She didn't feel like a villain. She felt more confused. And while she did shitty things, like it never felt like she went like so far that you just, oh, she's just outright a villain. Hawaiians is when it was like, oh, okay, you're a terrible fucking person. Like, okay, congrats, Mommy, you reached that point. Like, you actually reached that point of like, okay, you actually did something fucking terrible. Like, you really crossed the fucking line. And that's when Mommy truly became a villain. And it's like, I still like Mommy, but yeah. I mean, Pokemon does have good shit in it. Pokemon does have good shit in it, but there is also a lot of like, a whole lot of nothing fucking happening. Let's be fucking real. Pokemon does have good writing in it. That's not false, but it does have like, yeah. And I think it's just how people perceive writing and understand writing will make them like think of something like it's milking, when it's like, not really. You're not like dragging and bad writing. Like, I think what you perceive as bad writing varies from person to person. And while there is writing that someone will consider bad, someone may think it's good, right? Kingdom Hearts is a game that's traditionally considered as a poorly written video game. While for me, I have seen like retcons and contrivances in the writing, sure, I actually think it's a well-written video game series. And it has such an amazing discussion of emotional health. Like, amazing. And its themes and explorations are actually like really, really good. But people just don't know how to talk about it because it's very unorthodox writing. I also think a part of Kingdom Hearts' issues is in part localization. I think in part localization is kind of an issue with some of the ways these games are handled, because when you read it in Japanese, it actually sounds fucking normal. Like, some of the shit actually sounds fucking normal. But then you get the English localization, and sometimes it's like, who the fuck wrote this? And it sounds stupid. Advent Children, the Final Fantasy VII film, is pretty similar to this, where to a lot of people, Cloud's character seemingly regressed, but to me, it made a lot of sense because Cloud, as a character, seemingly never sat down with his problems and like fucking processed them. And then when he did, he had a fucking relapse. And I'm like, that's actually pretty realistic, and I like that. And I get it's divisive, and there are parts of Advent Children that are not like the greatest thing fucking ever. But Nomura's discussion of mental health, to me, Nomura also wrote Advent Children and he wrote Kingdom Hearts. Nomura's discussion of mental health to me and its exploration through story and through fights and combat and all that stuff is actually fucking second to none. That dude's crazy. Dude, it's almost 8:30. Oh yeah, you're right. But yeah, what I was just trying to say, I'll end it here. What I was just trying to say is that our perception of writing and how things are not the same, and they vary from person to person. Unfortunately, this is a series that gets a lot of flack based on misinformation, disinformation, and people's own interpretations of the work. And sometimes, they'll use things like the anime as an excuse to justify this stance. Oh, people hated the ending of Attack on Titan. I like Attack on Titan. People fucking hated the ending. I think there's a lot of Attack on Titan's writing that's actually really good and unique and very, very interesting. But there's a lot of it that people will never appreciate. And that's fine. To me, Kingdom Hearts is garbage. It's just two big companies rating. Okay, I'm gonna mute you just for that. Like just temporary mute, but fuck you. Kingdom Hearts is like my second favorite series of all time in terms of video games. So just for that, you're getting a 30-minute mute. Like, fuck off, man. Sorry, dude. Kingdom Hearts is actually amazing. Kingdom Hearts 3 may have been not a great game, but like it was still a good game. Anyways, that's it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. I probably won't stream for a little bit. I might not stream until Monday, or not Monday, Tuesday when the chapter comes out. And I'll see what I can do in the meantime. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this was fun. Tasty Lemonade, you're not like banned. I just muted you for like 30 minutes. You're not banned. That was just me lashing out because you shit talk something I deeply love. Oh, I'm admitting it. I was just lashing out. I'm admitting it. I was just lashing out. Right? Don't call the shit. Don't tell me the stuff I love is shit. Anyways, yeah, that's my predictions. I'm excited. I actually can't wait for the big reveals on what's gonna come up next. I think Kazi and Chizuru may actually start a relationship soon. Genuinely, I think they're gonna start like actually. There's a chance they might start dating soon. Like I think it's very possible. But I think Minnie is gonna get fucked soon. Like she's gonna get wrecked. And she's gonna like get left in the duster, dude, for like a little bit, and she's gonna have to like come back and stuff, right? Like we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Okay, that's it. I'll see you guys another time. Take care. Have a good night or good day, wherever you live.